talking about Tucker Carlson.
TikTok time to rock. Good evening.
It fits perfectly with TikTok Tucker.
What? TikTok Tucker?
Yeah.
It's ruined my intro, man. I don't ruin your. I don't ruin that crap, man.
I didn't tell you not to ruin it, so yeah, it's not on me.
We haven't been live in like 3 months together, and then we finally go live, and you completely destroy the moment as soon as we start.
I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Yeah. Anyway, man, what's up? How you doing?
Hey, you heard of this? Man, what the heck, man?
What?
We haven't been live. When was the last time we were live? I told you every time we don't go live for however long, it seems like a month and a half. But it couldn't have been that long ago.
Are you still stuck on that point? Let me see. Let me see how long ago that was. It was probably like a week ago or two. I don't know.
It was definitely before I went to New York and crushed all challengers.
Wait, you went to New York?
Yeah, I saw you play my when I played our joke, and then you claimed it's just your joke. Hold up, everyone. Let me play this joke. AP already played the joke, and I was generous enough when I messaged him to call it our joke. But then he insisted that it's just his joke. So hang on.
It's my joke.
Hang on. Let me pull up this joke. All right. Here's the joke, everyone.
The crux of the matter is this, and one only. Christianity is based.
Oh, hey, he said Christianity is based.
Yes. Hey, make sure you clip that.
Thank you.
Can't say nothing else.
Thank you.
Live converted. Live new top dawah leader gets converts to Christianity.
You see, this is what
I could watch that 100 times in a row. 100 times.
Good.
Matter of fact, one more time, since it's only 23 seconds. But here we go again, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, and keep in mind, everyone, so everyone, oh, why are you so mean to this guy? I've known this guy for years. He is the most deranged stalker ever. He tries to he'll try to get your phone number, and then he will fill up your entire inbox with 15-minute phone calls. Hey, AP, do you remember years ago when I made a video? It was me, and I was getting all these harassing calls, and then at the end, it switched to a horror movie, and the police calls me, and he says, the call is coming from inside the house. I took the clip from an old horror movie and stuff. Anyway, that was this dude. I've known this dude for years. He is super creepy. So anyway, he got slightly different treatment from how I treat some random friendly Muslim coming up for discussion and so on.
That's interesting. I didn't know that I had no idea who this guy is. So
that's this guy. That's Sadiq Abdul Malik. He was, I don't know if he was a member of the group or whatever, but he was close buddies with Revolution Muslim back in the day. A bunch of those guys got locked up those were the guys that threatened the South Park creators about the Muhammad cartoon. And then like a couple of them went to prison. He was with them. They got all kinds of videos and stuff together. Anyway, and he, back when we did the show Jesus or Muhammad, he called in and was defending the Fort Hood massacre. And so, yeah, you're just in a different category. I have no inclination to be overly nice if you support terrorism and you've been part of a group trying to shut down South Park and so on. And if you're constantly mouthing off to me and filling up my phone with messages. But anyway, one more time.
the crux of the matter is
this. This is what you get, Sadiq.
Christianity is based.
Oh, hey, he said Christianity is based.
Yes. Hey, make sure you clip that.
Thank you.
Can't say nothing else.
Thank you.
Live converted. Live new top dawah leader gets converts to Christianity.
You see, this is what
It didn't get any better for him.
I find it awesome that the crowd just goes wild upon you saying that.
No, that was awesome because we talked to a bunch of Muslims. Even when God logic and inspiring philosophy. Like on the first night, they're on camera live streaming. I'm over on the side, but people are coming up and talking to me and stuff like that. Dude, it is a completely different environment. Guy runs up to me, Muslim runs up to me puts a camera in my face. He's like, yes, why won't you face Sheikh Uthman? Sheikh Uthman is so base. And I go, wait, Sheikh Uthman, the guy who faked a hate crime against himself, covered himself in fake blood, and then blames us for it. And where are they? Where are they? The guy who his friend sends his wife to him for marital counseling, and he bangs his wife. You're talking about the guy they call Sheikh Ibn Ketchup, Sheikh Ibn Footnote, Sheikh Ibn Fibbin, Sheikh Ibn Zina, Sheikh Ibn. I just went down the list and stuff like this. And the guy he tries to mouth off. And then the crowd gathers around. They start going, what's he in jail? What's he in jail? What's he in jail? And this dude just backs up and runs away. And it's like they like having a crowd around a person in the middle and stuff. They can't stand having the crowd around them, shouting them down. And I saw that over time. They did not like Sadiq stood his ground sort of better than a lot of the guys. He actually stood there for a while. But a lot of guys, very, 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 very uncomfortable when they're totally outnumbered. And that's how it was. And, I mean, it was just cool. We're there in the middle of Times Square. We're in the middle of Times Square. And there were a bunch of people there because we had announced that we were going to be there. But they're just people walking by. And they're like, hey, what's going on over here? And they kind of joined the crowd. But it was really funny. It was really funny just being able to say, hey, he said Christianity's based. And then the whole crowd starts cheering. Yeah, they didn't like that.
It's a pretty based moment, man.
Yeah, so I messaged you and I said, hey, I used our joke. And then I saw you live. And then I had to turn it off because you're like, no, it's my joke. And so I'm confused as to... I thought I was being generous by calling it our joke instead of my joke. And then you're like, it's my joke.
Well, it is good enough that you say it is our joke. But the thing is, everybody needs to acknowledge that it is my joke.
You're missing something. Okay. If I steal a joke, whose joke is it?
Mine.
No, dude. Okay. Look, if we're in school and you have a girlfriend and I steal your girlfriend, whose girlfriend is she?
Yours.
Yeah, right. So if you have $100 and I steal your $100 and I have $100 and it's in my pocket, whose $100 is it?
Yours.
Right. So if you come up with a joke and you're like, hey, he said base, and I'm like, haha, I'm going to use this, and then we keep using it, and then I use it. Whose joke is it? Like, it's mine, but yours. I'm just being nice by saying ours. It would be like me. It would be like me stealing your $100, and then I've got the $100, and I can spend it on whatever I want. But then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to call it our $100 just to be nice.
Huh. Well, that's a pretty good point. Honestly, I didn't really think about it that way. But now that you explain it, I accept that it is thereby our joke.
Thank you. Okay, so from now on, this will forever be known as our joke. And what's cool? Hey, you know what's seriously cool is so you make that joke for a while, but then we both start doing it. And then after you've been doing it for a while, you automatically do it as soon as someone says Christianity's big and they're about to say something and you jump in. But you got to be quick because you are literally catching someone like between that word before they get to the next word, whatever they're going to say Christianity's based on. You have to jump in instantly. That takes a lot of training. So it's all the training on all the shows that we've done that on that allowed me, as soon as he tries to go on his monologue, Christianity's based, boom, jump in right there. Been trained, man. It's the significance of training, ladies and gentlemen.
I have to say, I was actually, as I was watching that video, I was actually kind of impressed that at how quick you were in immediately saying, "Oh, he said Christianity is based." So that was pretty quick. Pretty quick. I have to give you that.
Wait, let's see one more time how quick I was.
Okay. The crux of the matter is this, and one only. Christianity is based.
Oh, hey, he said Christianity is based. Hey, and look, notice I said, oh, and then I said, hey, right? I said, oh, because I was just going to say it for the camera. He said Christianity is based, and then I decided, no, yell it to the crowd, right? So I was just going to say to my camera, "Oh, he said Christianity is base," and I was just going to leave it at that. And I was like, "No, shout it to the crowd." And that's when I went, "Hey, so check this out one more time." Again, I can watch this 100 times. We could just do an entire live stream where all we do is watch this like 200 times in a row, and it would still be funny to me every single time. Let's see here.
The crux of the matter is this, and one only. Christianity is based.
Oh, hey, he said Christianity is based.
That's right. Hey, make sure you clip that.
Thank you.
Can't say nothing else.
Thank you.
Live converted. Live new top dawah leader gets converts to Christianity. You see, this is what.
Hey, it's really funny that I didn't share. Actually, right when he said it, what flashed through my mind is AP will never let me hear the end of it if I don't jump in like right now. AP will be like, "Why didn't you jump in?" Like that's what flashed through my head. Oh, you got to jump in.
That's funny, man. That's good.
Would you have mentioned it if I hadn't jumped in with that? Would you have been, "How did you miss that perfect opportunity?"
I don't think I would have mentioned it. I would have probably mentioned it in your absence, and then I would have never live streamed with you again.
Yeah, that's so. Yeah, I knew that would happen. I knew that would happen. Anyway, so yeah, that whole trip was cool. So yeah, the first night it was Avery and Mike Jones. They were sort of in the middle of the crowd. I was over on the side, but like at first, it's just everyone. It's just tons of people coming up, for pictures and stuff. Hey, been watching your stuff for years and stuff. And then it's also a lot of. I'm sure you've heard this a bunch of times too. Hey, I left Islam after watching your stuff. Several people like that. And then it was also, hey, I almost converted to Islam. They almost got me. Then I was watching. And sometimes they'll mention a bunch of people, you and AP and this guy and that guy and stuff like that. And then it was also like early on there was a guy who he'd been married. He married a Muslim woman. I don't know if he was ever a Muslim or not, but he came up and he was like, "Hey, my wife's still a Muslim. She'd like to discuss some things with you." But she was super cool and polite. She wasn't like me. She would both him and her, they were asking questions and they just let me talk until I was done and stuff like that. But I mean, he's asking stuff like, "So what's does the Quran allow wife beating, or is that something there's some is that a matter of interpretation?" I would say, well, no, the matter of interpretation is how to carry that out, like how severe you're allowed to beat a woman and stuff, beat your wife and stuff like that. But there's no dispute that that's actually talking about beating women and stuff. They're asking me about jihad and all kinds of stuff. And so anyway, that was super cool. And then one of the girls that's in the back of that clip, she came up to me and said that her and her brother were both Muslims. Her brother converted first and then started sending her our videos and stuff. And it was funny because she goes, and at first when you're like, you're like eating the Quran, I was like really mad, but later on I got it. It's like, oh, awesome. So anyway.
Nice. It is an interesting thing. I just we encounter it every single time wherever we go, when we have conversations with people, when we go to these events and all that. So many people come up to us and there are always people who say, "Hey, I got into a relationship with a Muslim. I got into this arrangement with a Muslim. I became a Muslim myself before knowing, and then later on I found out," and so on. And it's good to share some of these experiences with each other and all that. But then there are some cases of people coming up and saying, "Hey, help me. What can I do? My brother or my sister converted to Islam." Or my even worse, my spouse converted to Islam, and now I need help. I don't really know what to do with the situation, and it's very, very difficult every single time to deal with it and to say something about it, to give a helpful response. What would you say, just as a general rule, to people like that?
Stay away from Islam.
Beast.
Nice. So, go, what?
Nothing.
No, guys, seriously, if you have a friend or family member or something like that, someone converts to Islam, that is a good time to start learning about Islam and ask the person what it was that convinced you. 100% of the time, they were fed some complete nonsense, and they bought it, and they did not think it through clearly. They did not look into it enough. And so you're going to have to look into it for them. So whatever reasons they were given for converting to Islam that they thought were so powerful, oh my goodness, I thought the Quran's been perfectly preserved right down to the letter. How is that possible? They didn't research it. They took someone at their word, and they listened to the biggest bunch of liars the world has ever seen. And they didn't bother to critically examine any of that at all. And so you have to do it for them. You have to look into the stuff for them and then go back to them. Shout out to Orthodox Lips Muslim. Is that the guy you're debating? Are you debating him or the other one? I get them for some reason. I no matter even with the duck lips, I still get them confused.
Who's the other one?
Who's the other one, guys? There's another one.
Response something. Dean responds.
Dean responds. Dean responds. Yeah. Dees responds.
Dees responds. No, I'm debating Orthodox Lips Muslim.
This guy.
He challenged. Yeah, him. Hey, what's up, Orthodox Lips? So Orthodox Lips challenged me to a debate a while ago. He said, "Hey, I'm going to debate you. I'm going to finish you." I said, "Okay, sure, yeah." Under one condition, which is that we first have a debate titled "Is Islam True?" And he was like, "Okay, whatever you propose, I accept it." So we arranged it, and now we're going to have a debate soon. I think next week already, about is Islam is true on Modern Day Debate. And then next month, we're supposed to have another debate about Jesus.
So that's just going to be online, right? It's not going to be in person?
No, he was scared to do it in person, so he had to choose online.
Well, if I were you, I would not want to do it in person. What if he tries to kiss you with those duck lips, right? I mean, look at all his pictures. All his pictures look pretty creepy. What if he's going to be doing that during your debate, man, to try and distract you?
Well, that's his big trick. Yeah, I accept whatever you offer. I accept every single debate. And then he just sits there and is like, he can't focus. Man.
Weird. I've been telling everyone for years, like each new dawah guy comes along with his new shtick and so on. But now you've got, if I just do duck lips all the time and pretend to kiss people, then that will throw them off and they won't be able to respond to my terrible, stupid arguments.
Oh, look at this. Look how Allah is blessing me with these tricks.
John here says, Dizzle, can you and AP please come to Boston area? We'll be in Boston area. We'll be in Boston in November. John Buckley.
Boston.
That's where ETS and EPS are this year. So we will be there. We will be in your area. So if you want to meet up while we're there, you will have that opportunity very soon. Very soon.
That is true. We will indeed be there in Boston. Boston.
Yep. Yeah. Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, while we're there, we'll go throw a bunch of tea into the harbor. Pretty based.
Let's do it.
All right. Let's take these first few super chats, and then we're going to jump into, so people asking about Tucker Carlson. Yeah. Tucker. Someone asked us if Tucker changed. Oh, Tucker. Tucker changed. We'll be looking at some clips. We're going to look at some clips of Tucker before this year, before 2025, when he had a serious problem with Sharia and what it teaches, and now Sharia is basically our salvation. It's what can save us from drugs and degeneracy and all that stuff.
Sharia, Sharia.
You remind me of the West Side Story. No. Wait, go. Start that again. Start that again.
Sharia, Sharia. I can't do it anymore, man.
You remind me of the Al-Zut story. There we go. Nice. Let's see. The nuclear Mahdi Jew with space lasers says Islamic trilemma. If Muhammad split the moon, why was he the one covered in themin? If Dia split the moon, why was Muhammad Only pain after the al-zut. That's true.
Oh, you see?
Oh, hey, AP.
Yes.
Did you hear about the new twist on the whole al-zut story?
No.
Dude, this is coming out this week. It's gonna be a tag team, not the way al-zut tag team, but video tag team with me and Inspiring Philosophy. I don't know how it came up, but we were talking about the al-zut, and he starts going, well, that reminds me of.
I know. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That was crazy. So he's like, yeah, that reminds me of all this stuff that I had to read preparing for my debate with Daniel Hakikachu, because he brings up like, child marriage in the ancient world and stuff. And it turns out a bunch of these articles are about guys in relationships with boys and so on. It's not even about women. It's not even about girls. It's about boys. And Daniel quotes these as, you see, everyone is doing this. Like, this is about dudes banging teenage boys and stuff. Anyway. And he said, and what's weird is they had this belief in the ancient world. It was all over the place. Not in the way I'll... Never mind. But, he says, the belief was all over the place that you could actually... A man, especially a really virile man, could inject his manliness and virility into someone else, right? It's like if he's a real virile man, then in injecting another man or boy with his fluid, the manliness could be transferred to someone else. And then I'm sitting there thinking, that gives a completely different meaning to Muhammad having the strength of 30 men, right?
Yeah.
Like we always think, they're just bragging about how strong he was. Like, what if they're actually thinking 30 men injected their manliness and virility into him? That's why he's got the strength of 30 men. So anyway, now it's all tying together, and it's all tying together with Dihal Kalbi and Muhammad being covered in semen, because it's going to wear off over time. So you need to top off the tank. You know what I mean, so to speak.
That's what the al-zut said to him. Yeah.
That's what the al-zut said to him. Said, "Hey, you're going to be turbocharged for a while, buddy, but you need to top off the tank every once in a while." And so it's no problem.
The secret is you got to keep doing it.
Yep, got to keep doing it. It's some creepy stuff. Anyway, but here's what's awesome. I'm like, if that belief was all over the place, why is no one believe that anymore? And he goes, I've got articles on that. It's the spread of Christianity that actually changed that belief. And so I'm going to go through the Muslim sources and show what's actually going on based on these studies. And then at the end of my video, I'm going to say, so what changed? And then I'm going to share the link to IP's video, and he's going to break down how Christianity saved people from this belief, even though it's still it's foundational to Islam, because that's how Muhammad became such a strong man. In other words, guys, if you're in the time of Muhammad and you think, how can I become the most powerful man who ever lived? Oh, I need to get all these super virile al-zut to make me the most powerful man who's ever lived. Creepy stuff, man.
That's so messed up.
Hi, guys. Any idea how to solve the Eastern Orthodox, what is Oriental Orthodox?
Oriental Orthodox, yeah.
Catholic Church and Assyrian Church of the East conflict? I've seen videos bashing each other, unfortunately.
I'm sure you wouldn't find a solution to solve that conflict and that problem here. You would find it somewhere in history. I don't even know. I don't know what to say about it. It's like as I was coming into the faith and looking into it and looking into the divisions that take place there, I thought, oh, what a shame! It would be nice if this got fixed and so on. But then, as I look into it, I realize how complicated it is, how deeply and brutally complicated it is, and how it is extremely unlikely to just be solved in a short while. So I don't know what to say. I think that there might be something. I don't know. There might be something even divinely ordained or something good about. I don't know, something. something about it that you have different traditions that established themselves. I mean, on a purely natural human level, it is probably completely expected that different populations, even believing in the same religious belief, will go about it in different ways and hold on to certain different traditions. But even you could think that this is even just part of a plan, and that it's all going to be good. I don't know.
And there could be kind of two issues here. One is, how do you solve the disagreements between them? But also, you could just be like, you could mean, how do you solve the infighting that's going on right now when we've got other stuff we should be focusing on? Could mean kind of either one of those. Yeah.
I think that so one good thing to do, which is what I appreciate about Bob from Speaker's Corner, for example. He is very adamant on trying to inform Christians altogether more about Islam, and bring Christians together in uniting on the issue of Islam, even if people have their disagreements, even if the different traditions and the different churches have their disagreements, at least they could agree on the whole Islam stuff. And I think that this is that's a good effort. I think that would be something nice to focus on.
Yeah, and AP, how many years now have I been saying, hey, as people continue to feel increasingly like they're being attacked, the tendency is to become more valued by your group, and to cling more deeply to your group. And then, but what happens there is, once you're more enmeshed in your group, and now it's a matter of safety. My group is what is protecting me from being attacked, rather than just, hey, here's the group that I agree with, and I'm part of this group, and so on. Now it's a matter of your safety from constantly feeling like you're being attacked at all times. That the tendency is to, the psychological tendency is to constantly demonstrate your value to the group by attacking other groups, and that Christianity is not immune to this, and that as this goes on, it will affect everybody, and you'll have Catholics attacking Protestants more, Protestants attacking Catholics, and Eastern Orthodox, and so on, that everyone will be attacking more. And it's exactly what you see. And you go back 6 or 7 years, I would hear from a Catholic or an Orthodox guy, like, occasionally, hey, David, why don't you join the true church, and so on. Now it's all the time. And so,
there has also been there's a reported surge in conversions to Catholicism and Orthodox Christianity, which apparently there are some attributions to the whole COVID thing, that around that time something like that started happening. So there's especially like an online interest and an online conversion stuff, which is why you will hear that kind of stuff more often. But yeah, you're probably right. Although I've never heard you say that before.
I've said that literally thousands of times during live streams.
Well, I never heard it. So.
Saw God Logic interview that young Muslim guy, and IP's brain melted. Yeah, that was IP's reaction from hearing a lot of the arguments was, how are these guys this stupid? That's what he's saying over on the side. Hey, AP, could you explain why you affirm orthodoxy? And D Wood, could you destroy AP's argument for orthodoxy? No, I will not destroy his argument from orthodoxy yet.
Why affirm orthodoxy? What did I just say?
You just broke it down, man.
No, I would say that, I don't know. I don't really feel like answering this question right now.
He says he doesn't feel like it. Why are you harassing him?
Because over the last week or two, I have dealt with a lot of fighting over this issue, but not with non-Orthodox, but rather with Orthodox people. So it's just something that I don't really want to talk about right now at this point.
Then,
but
Daniel Hakikichu exposed you for leaving, for apostatizing. I don't think we're dealing with the top brass in a lot of this stuff, AP.
Yeah, I came to believe in Christianity and to accept it as right and true and good. And I found my way first to, thinking about Catholicism and looking into Catholicism and looking into early Christianity eventually ended up going the path of orthodoxy. And I'm sure I will in the future have more to say about that. But that's all I want to say at this point. So, alhamdulillah.
Hey, matter of fact, I'll give you a little example. This goes back to the earlier question and so on about the divisions and so on. So, first day we were at Times Square. Second day we were in Times Square again. And then I forget if it was the second day or the third day. We're going to have to release that video. Someone contacted, I think, God Logic and said, hey, there's a dawah booth over at this big fair over in New Jersey. So we went over there and we rolled up to the dawah booth. I forget what I said. I walked up, said something like, I heard this is a booth for dawah instruction. I was hoping we could get some lessons, right? I said something like that. I forget what I said. But the guys were super nice, but oh my goodness, they crumbled at the Islamic dilemma, man. They crumbled.
I watched a few minutes of it and I thought, well, this is really, really weird, man. Like, why do they have a booth?
Yeah. So anyway, so we were over there, and then but Sunday evening we went to Washington Square Park, and it started raining right when we were supposed to get there. Like pouring, like uh-oh, I think everything's about to be derailed. But then it stopped like half an hour later. So these guys had, like Avery and Vocab and stuff, had gotten together with the Hebrew Israelites under outside the park where there was some shelter, and they started having a discussion there. So then I walk over the park where people are waiting under that big arch and stuff. And guess what? So the Hebrew Israelites weren't there yet because they were over with God Logic and Vocab and stuff. And the Muslims never showed up. I mean, a couple of Muslims may have showed up, but they didn't show up as like a group. But I find the Christians, guess what the Christians are all arguing about?
What?
Catholicism versus Protestantism. They're all arguing. And it's like, guys, you have a huge showdown. We didn't know the Muslims weren't going to show up because they said they were going to show up. They did not show up. Ton of Hebrew Israelites showed up. But you have this, at that point, it was like, hey, we're expecting a huge showdown with a bunch of Hebrew Israelite groups showing up and a ton of Muslims showing up, the dawah guys showing up. And you guys are over here arguing Catholicism versus Protestantism. What is going on here?
Yeah.
Can be totally relevant to have that discussion, right? Obviously someone's wrong here. It's good to have the discussion, but not when you got a bunch of Hebrew Israelites and Muslims rolling up on you. That would not be the correct time. AP, you have ripped off the Quran in your last stream. Good job. Joe Smith is in Surah Yusuf 12, 1-3. Book of Mormon is the clear book, you see. Yeah, that talks about the Quran being clear. But no, what if it's about the Book of Mormon?
I did indeed rip up the Quran in the last live stream, so I don't apologize for it.
Chris says, you see, it's David's joke now, and we like it. I'll leave that with voice. I think you mean, and we're proud of that. Kyber, it was my birthday yesterday. Can I get a happy birthday song? Yes, you can.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kybar's Barbecue. Happy birthday to you.
Hey, that's not how we sing on this channel, man. We sing like this.
That's true. But there's a big mistake. The day after your birthday is not your birthday, Kybar's Barbecue, so better luck next year. I don't know why we even went through that. Should have said no. Get us on time next. Anyway, no, comrade, it's our joke now. Yeah, I went communist. Hey, players, have you seen my goat? They owe me money. A pimp.
Nice.
Although I'm not professionally trained, I offer to translate the Islamic dilemma into Chinese for maximum exposure. Oh, it's not out yet. Oh, hi, D Wood and AP. Oh, it will be.
Hello there. Well, hello there.
Chris says, correction on Super Chat, and we're proud of that. And we're proud of that. Yeah, that's true. Let's see. Leave Tucker alone. Leave Britney alone. Voice. Who's leave Brit? What's leave Britney alone?
That's an old video. It's like I don't even remember how that goes. There was this old video of like, leave Britney alone.
Britney who? Britney Spears or some other Britney?
Yeah, yeah.
Orthodox lips, the lips of the Alzut. What? Come on, man. Did the demon that scratched Tucker in bed ever leave? That I'm seriously wondering that, because he's the one who says earlier I got attacked by a demon. It left scratch marks all over me. I'm like, I think that thing scratched your brain, dude. I think that thing is still riding you, like the
That thing.
I get home from work, see you guys are live, and the first thing I hear from David is men injecting things into other men. Yep, that's what happens when you read the Muslim sources and try to understand them based on the latest powerful research. Based, much love from your Jewish friend who runs the world.
Oh, what's up, man? What's up?
Yes, thank you for the shekels. Why are you sending Canadian dollars? We only accept shekels from Jews.
Well, they run the world, so they can send whatever they want.
Sure, they own all the currency, so it's all shekels basically. Momo needed all the strength he can get, considering having a 1.8-inch man. Oh yeah, I could combine that. He's like, I'm not man enough. How can I become more manly? And he came up with a solution. I will find the men of Al-Zut. So Momo receives the same virility that the Thai ladyboy does, turning tricks for 2 days. Those are rookie numbers. Yep, but they were they're pretty good numbers for back then. Are you going to be in Beantown before or after DebateCon? That's right after DebateCon, ladies and gentlemen.
Going to.
What do you mean Sharia is awesome? Tucker is a big fan of Sharia now. Any updates on young Bob? How's he doing? Haven't talked to him, but seems to be doing fine. Didn't
He's getting really popular.
lose his stuff.
He's getting a lot of traction, a lot of attention from people. I saw that Meyer Tusi recently had a live stream about him, which was just about him. Well, like with like 6,000 people watching and all that. It's like he's really getting somewhere, and he's getting good attention. He's getting he's saying the right things, and I hope that he, in a good way, keeps growing and keeps being a voice for the voiceless people of Britain and the rest of the world.
And he's a good example for the older people and the younger people. For the older people, it should be, why is this autistic teenager fighting my battles for me? And for the young people, wait a minute, we can do this too. So he is a good example for everyone. D Wood on live streams. I'm slowing down, guys. My mind is not as sharp as it used to be. That's true. D Wood in the streets. Hey, he just said Christianity is based. Make your own conclusions. Notice though, that's training. And I've pointed that out. Like that, if I try to learn new stuff, it just doesn't. I don't recall it as well as I used to. But the stuff I use over and over and over again, I recall that stuff.
That's what they do.
Went to buy whiskey and saw 4 young people witnessing to a homeless guy outside. Refreshing to see young people doing something other than playing video games. Yeah, AP, lay out the video games for 5 seconds.
That's interesting.
That's pretty cool.
I can't, man.
Pretty cool. Any updates on young Bob and Mansoor the Druze? Mansoor. Wait, he's not Druze. You talking about a different Mansoor?
This is a good Mansoor.
Oh, this is a good Mansoor.
Yeah. No updates on him. I mean, he's okay. He's all right. He doesn't live in the region in Syria or anything like that, so he's fine. He's good.
Then we have what's up with Vice Rhino? Does he critique Islam? No, as far as I've seen, he defends Islam. I don't know. He might, but that's the guy. Ooh. Yeah, we went live. That's when you said, "Hey, I'm going live. Why don't you jump in?" I was like, "I'm already live with Inspiring Philosophy."
That's not what you said. You said, "I'm already live with IP, you weirdo."
That's what I said. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were responding to this dude who's like, actually, Muslims have better arguments than Christians. And he's like giving the dumbest arguments ever. Okay. AP, why do Muslims always say, peace be, peace be on him? Is it mind control?
Yes. Well, Muhammad said, whoever hears my name mentioned must say, Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And he said, if any of you hears my name and does not say, Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, may Allah curse him and may the angels curse him. That's basically what he said.
What's funny is that it's actually prayers of Allah be upon him.
True.
That's connected. That's connected to Surah 33, verse 56, which says that Allah and the angels pray on Muhammad. Not in the al-Zut sense, but, well, that too, though. Can you recommend theology textbooks? No, should go to someone who's way better at theology. AP might, but AP probably has better recommendations than I do, and he's brand new.
What? I don't. What are you talking about?
Read the Bible, man.
Read the Bible. You want a theology textbook? Read the Bible. How about that?
Oh, hey, actually, I just talked to the Logos guys. They said if you had a recommended reading list for people who are interested in the stuff that you cover, what would it be? So just earlier today, I sent them a list, and they said they could give some, like if people want the list, they could give it at like a 90% discount and stuff like that. So anyway, they're going to be coming for everyone who says, "Hey, David, what are the books you recommend to study apologetics and things like that?" Logos will be able to give people a huge discount on the D Wood bundle. So that should be cool. To be honest,
I don't read much like theology books and all that, but I just finished a book which is you could think from the title and also from the content, much of it, that is more orthodoxy specific. But I read it because I wanted to understand it further, and because I really like the author, who is Metropolitan Callistus Ware, who recently passed away a few years ago. But it's called The Orthodox Way. I finished it, and honestly, it's not just about orthodoxy. It is about Christian belief and about God in general. It's like divided into 6 different sections: God as this, God as that, God as that, and so on. And it's an incredibly powerful book. It's one of the most memorable and most amazing books I've ever read. It's still stuck in my head. I want to read it again. So since you asked me, there it is.
V says, to be honest, I'd be flat. That's funny. There's a show called V. You ever see that show, AP?
A show called V?
Yeah, it was. There was a version back in like the 80s, and then they rebooted it in the 2000s. But it was such I never pointed it out, but it was such an amazing parallel with Islam. This alien ship shows up, and it's there to conquer the world, but they keep saying, "We are of peace. We are of peace. We are everything. We're of peace. We're here to help." They're there to they're there to conquer the entire world. Awesome parallel. I knew Tucker was going off the deep end back when all the edits of his interview with Kanye came out, showing all the anti-Semitism he tried to hide. Yeah, I haven't. I didn't. I'm trying to think if I've ever watched like a full episode of that, but so I've never really paid attention unless like it's something relevant and so on. I thought he had some good monologues back in the day. I would occasionally watch his monologues from whatever show he was on. But with me, it was when he was defending Andrew Tate and covering for Andrew Tate. And I was like, what the heck what is going on here, man? What is going on?
So I've heard from some people, some insiders from the industry that he has always had a very agenda driven and a very financially driven path when it came to political things and all that. And that he also always had an issue with the whole with Jews, for example. Although you might see that in the past, he was more of a on the pro-Israel side, and he was kind of speaking out against the whole anti-Semitism and anti-Israel thing. He was very quick to immediately jump ship and jump on that board, you know. So I don't know. It's just maybe a year ago or two when we started looking at him and talking about how he's going down this very, very dumb path and how he's a complete sellout, how you can't trust him, and so on. A lot of people were still giving him the benefit of the doubt and saying, "Oh no, he's good. Like, give him some time and all that." But it was very obvious where this is going, and lots of people have said. He has basically become like an apologist for Sharia and for the Islamists and all that. But we didn't really have it as concretely. And the predictions and all were all very, very much spot on with where he got eventually.
Yeah, I was when this happens, because it's something similar with Candace and so on. But when it happens, it's like, okay, were you saying these things back then because the people writing your check wanted you to say these things, and this is what was popular for your audience at that time, and that's why you were saying them, but you really had no real convictions about this stuff. It's just those are the people writing my checks, and now that those people aren't writing my checks anymore, I can say what I really think. Yeah. So is that what's going on there, or is it just like, suppose you were opposed to Sharia back in the day and you were opposed to Islam, but now you feel free to blast away at Jews and so on. And guess who's going to be cheering for you when you do that? Well, all of a sudden you're going to get tons of new Muslims cheering for you. And so do you then start appealing to your new fan base and so on and start becoming more and more pro-Sharia and pro-Islam, things like that? And so it's like, is it just a matter of money and now different people are paying you? Or have you actually changed your mind based on other things? Let me go back to V here. V pointed out I didn't actually read the comment. I just started talking about the dumb show. He said, V said, to be honest, I'd be flattered that Muslims spend their time in your chat trying to debunk you guys. You live rent-free in their heads. Oh, just wait till the new Al-Zut video comes out. Tucker was formative in my political perspective, so seeing him unmasked as a shill is very disappointing. Well, it's good that you actually can spot the problem, because you have people who become loyal to the person, and then loyal to Candace as the person, or loyal to Tucker as a person. And even when their views change, it's people retain their loyalty and they can do nothing wrong and so on. So you just go along with any sick random thing. So the fact that you're recognizing it, that is a positive. Shout out.
This makes me appreciate, in the past, I didn't really have much sympathy for what's his name, Steven Crowder, for example. But this makes me appreciate Steven Crowder very much, because he recently did this whole thing. After Tucker Carlson had that nun on, for example, that so-called nun, he actually broke down how hypocritical Tucker Carlson was when he had Ted Cruz on, how he grilled him over like the slightest issues, over not knowing the exact population of Iran. And then he invites this so-called nun and lets her spew all kinds of complete nonsense.
Never challenges her on anything, no matter how idiotic, no matter how dangerous and demented and idiotic and insane. And I'll say demonic nonsense for some of the stuff.
She spouts complete nonsense, and he doesn't even it's one thing to have somebody on and to have them speak on these things, but he doesn't even challenge her, not even once. So I appreciate Steven Crowder, for example, for he's doing his own thing. He doesn't have to depend on anybody. He's getting good views. He's always had his own name, his own brand, and all that. But he has jumped in and pointed that out, for example.
Crowder hasn't. I'm trying to think of Crowder hasn't really changed, right? He hasn't. Everyone started changing over the past several years, but he hasn't, has he? So
for a very short time, I thought he was changing, but then he didn't. So he has one issue with lobbies, for example. He has a real problem with lobbies, but he hasn't jumped on that whole anti-Semitism thing, and he's very much against it. So that's pretty good. And also Islam. He really doesn't like Islam. That never changed.
Yeah, what's creepy is as people go all in on attacking Israel and Jews and so on, you're going to see more and more of these people start warming up to Islam, because that will be their new fan base, or at least a significant portion of their fan base. Zachary says, shout out to Dr. D. Wood. I was once a Christian shill for Islam. I was red-pilled when I first watched your classic 3 Stages of Jihad back in 2014. Was hooked ever since. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's a video I've been wanting to remake, because back then I had clips of Obama and stuff in it. It's not relevant anymore, but the 3 stages, I'd like to remake that. Just getting back to videos. For some reason, traveling throws me off completely. Of making videos, but I'm not traveling I think till I think till around the beginning of October or something like that. So good time to crank out a bunch of videos. If I haven't gotten to it like a month, Zachary, send me a message or remind me, because that's one of the ones that I think is important to remake. Since we've got all these conservative commentators now going super pro Sharia and pro Islam, and and watch, they're going to be saying, oh, but Islam is actually peaceful and tolerant. They're going to be giving dawah talking points. It's disgusting.
Disgusting.
Pikachu, question: how, what, when, where? Answer: the Jews. Yeah. People like Daniel Pikachu, they've basically deified Jews, right? They're basically omnipotent. They're omnipotent and omniscient and so on. When does the No Snitch Jewish Tree Song post?
I scheduled it to be published on Spotify on the 27th. So I'm going to publish it on the channel, on the music channel, probably in a few days.
Yeah, I haven't heard it yet. You sent me a link, and then I clicked on it and said I need to set up some account with whatever thing you sent me, and I was like, what? Not setting things up. I'll wait just like everybody else. Good morning. Where do you think one should start when it comes to reading the Bible? I want to get back to the Word. I would say if you want something, if you want fast-paced, action-based, start with the Gospel of Mark. If you want that combined with some of Jesus' sermons, read Matthew. If you want all the action, but with a lot of some of the most famous parables, read Luke, but read one of those, Matthew, Mark, or Luke. Then read the Gospel of John, and then the book of Acts. That would be my advice. What say you, AP, as someone who has been reading?
It sounded like you're describing an action movie or something. But
yeah, Mark's just, Jesus went here and did this. He went there and did this. He went here and healed this guy. Then he went here and did this. Then he went here and did that.
Well, I'm going to be very much under the influence of my own priest, who gave me something to read as I sat down and asking questions.
He said, don't read the Bible, just read this Orthodox book.
Yeah, he said, he gave me the Bible and said, read together with your wife.
You said, I can't read.
I said, and then he said, read. I said, I can't.
He choked me and said, you will read this.
And then I said, Alhamdulillah. No, he said, read together with your wife the Gospel of John. And I did. And it was amazing. However, before that, I personally read the Epistle to Romans, and I found it incredibly amazing.
And based.
In fact, it kind of turned everything around in my head about Christianity, and made me very impressed with Christianity. So, yeah.
Hey, look at this. March for Jesus tomorrow in Belfast. Catholic and Protestants coming together after years of war and hatred. What do we do now to defeat Islam? Guys, I'm gonna break this down for you, because everyone's still thinking in terms of, oh, do we fight this big war and so on? The most effective thing that you can all do involves no violence at all. Learn how to expose Muhammad, learn how to refute the dawah script. It's already crumbling. Learn the Islamic dilemma. You do all that, guess Islam, we've seen it, right? I mean, years ago when Muhammad Hijab did his study, Muslims, when you doubt Islam, what is it that causes your doubts? The number one answer by far was moral problems with Muhammad. I mean, he's basically telling you this is what causes Muslims to doubt their religion, learning the truth about Muhammad, and not the whitewashed, watered down Walt Disney version of Muhammad that they get from their sheikhs and imams. So they told you this is what absolutely rocks our faith in Muhammad. And when you know the Islamic dilemma is the ultimate dawah destroyer, because every one of these guys wants to attack the Bible. If you can instantly flip that on, oh, really, you're attacking the Bible? Well, I guess your prophet and your God are complete morons, because they affirm what you're attacking. If you know that the Islamic dilemma is the ultimate dawah stopper, and the main thing that causes Muslims to doubt their religion is problems with Muhammad, How isn't every single person who's concerned about Islam focusing on these things, learning the Islamic dilemma really well, and learning how to expose Muhammad? How? They've told you exactly what will destroy their religion. So do that.
Do it.
Do it
now.
Do it. Do it. Do it. I finally watched Mike Winger. About to click off this comment, man. Words that I never thought I would see in a super chat on this holy and righteous channel. I finally watched Mike Winger's 4-hour expose on Benny Hinn. That man is an evil monster. It's a good description of Mike Winger. It is. Mike Winger, man, is an evil monster and deserves to be imprisoned for the rest of his life for his crimes. Oh, he said it too. He said Benny Hinn's pretty bad too. Dude. Or Dima, we made the exact same joke, but Dima made it before I did. I was going to play. That's funny. Didn't Fox pay $12 million over Tucker's anti-Semitic remarks?
I think so.
I wasn't paying any attention to that, but wouldn't surprise me. To defend Muhammad's claim that sperm's found in the chest and backbone, how can you blame him since his vitality was deposited that far by Al-Zut? They got it all the way up into my backbone and chest. This is very messed up, guys. That's a super sticker. Thank you, Mo the Goat. And we're almost cool. We're almost through these. An Austrian court has ruled that Sharia rulings can be legally valid. Guy who lost in Sharia court later complained, saying Sharia is unconstitutional. Lol. Lost in Sharia court. Now it's I don't want to. Hi, D. Wood, about your brain seeming to be not as good. Article, Howard Rickman about adult learning, specifically piano, but relevant. I'll actually check that out. I remembered everything when I was young, and now not so much, but we'll see.
My brain ain't no good no more.
All right, guys. We ready for some Tucker Carlson here?
Of course, man. Everybody's favorite, Tucker Carlson.
But before we do, here we go.
The crux of the matter is this and one only. Christianity is based.
Oh, hey, he said Christianity is based.
That's right. Hey, make sure you clip that. Can't say nothing else.
Thank you.
Live converted. Live new top dawah leader gets converts to Christianity.
You see, this is what
Classic. That will never get old, man.
Well played.
That is never, ever going to get old.
Well played.
Let's see. What do we have now? So, where do we want to go with good old Tucker? Good old Tucker. Let's.
Sharia.
What? Milk Bar's been crushing it, man. So he was just going.
He's destroying Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, and Candace, man.
And Candace, yes.
It's like
you don't want to mess with Milk Bar, man.
You don't want to mess with Milk Bar, man. So Milk Bar, he'd been crushing Tate, and more than anyone I can think of, he's the one who was exposing Tate by taking everything. He's just a champ. He's just a champion at going through all this content and bringing all the lies to the surface. He was doing that. He was doing that with Tate. He's been on live with us a couple times, but he was doing that with Tate for a long time, and now with Candace and Tucker. But here he put together some clips of Tucker being concerned. Seriously concerned about Sharia and Islam from basically 2001 all the way until 2024 when something suddenly changed in 2025. But let's go ahead and check out Milk Bar because this is a good overview.
It's a large number of Muslims around the world who are sympathetic to these acts of craziness. Pew Research poll findings that 1 of every 4 Muslim Americans younger than 30 believe suicide bombing in the defense of Islam is justifiable. For instance, do you believe that Arabs carried out the 9/11 attacks? Only
that's him with Ibrahim Hooper, who's was the head of CARE.
40% believe Arabs carried them out. Do they think the Jews did it? I get that decent Muslim Americans feel under attack. They feel like they're being unfairly portrayed as terrorists. I understand all that. But at some point, you have to say, this really is a real problem, and it's discrediting all of us. And until we take it seriously, it's going to continue, no? We can debate the details here, but I think it's important to acknowledge a baseline, and that is that there have been an awful lot of attacks where actual people died in the United States.
What's that?
Who's that woman?
Some chick. But keep in mind, this is
thank-
2017. This is not terribly long ago. It's 8 years ago.
And in Europe, committed by people saying really clearly we're acting in the name of Islam. Hasidic Jews, I mean, they're a set-apart community, speak a different language, not assimilated, but I don't see a lot of terror attacks committed by those groups.
And it's important he's pointing that out. Like you say, okay, if you got a bunch of Muslims and they're not assimilated, of course they're, they're going to be hostile towards our society, going to be attacking everyone else and so on. And he points out, what are you talking about? And I think right after this, he talks about like the Amish. The Amish don't assimilate with everyone else and so on. They're not going around killing people. Hasidic Jews aren't going around killing people. Why is this one particular group? Oh yeah, that's true as far as we know. If you ask Daniel, there are all these secret assassins and so on.
The Amish.
Mm-hmm. The Amish too.
Often hear Americans say, I have said, including last night, is that assimilation is the problem, is people are not assimilated. And yet you look around, and there are actually a number of groups in our society and yours who aren't assimilated. Hasidic Jews live apart, the Amish live apart, they pose no threat at all.
That's interesting. So if the criticism, if the explanation is, but they haven't assimilated, that's the problem. That can't just be the problem, because there are other groups that haven't assimilated, and they're not going around slaughtering everyone in the name of their religion. In other words, sounds pretty commonsensical. Sounds like he understands something here that he's about to forget everything about.
The country they live in, they love the country. Why is this group different?
Well, the Muslim population of the West is rising very quickly, and that has implications for social cohesion or national security. So if I say, as Islamic countries do, you don't have a choice. You have to wear the hijab. You need to be modest, and if you're not, you could get raped, and if you do, it's your fault. And you have to avert your gaze from men. For example, women are asked to walk behind their husbands, or in some countries, you're not allowed to drive or vote. Under certain circumstances, can that be empowering? Can female genital mutilation be empowering?
So this chick was apparently, Islam is empowering to women, empowering. And Tucker seems to understand a lot about the Muslim world and about what Islam teaches. I'm just saying this because he seems pretty well informed on at least the basics. And all of that's about to go out the window. And he's not going to remember any of this as of 2025. Strange. Whatever that demon did to him, it apparently completely wrecked everything he knows about Islam and made him pro-Islam and pro-Sharia.
I think a lot of it is also because of Twitter, and honestly, I think it's a little bit something where Elon Musk is to be blamed. For those who haven't realized it yet, Elon Musk is not a great person and not a great influence on the world.
I disagree. Elon is a saint and a scholar.
So
don't be jealous of Elon. You always got people like AP who are jealous of the world's richest man.
That's true. Everybody has their flaws, but Elon really made a mess with things. And Twitter or X was even before this, prior to this, it was to many people who especially focus on information, on influence, and all that. Twitter was the place to be to per text or per messages at least convey different pieces of information, to exchange ideas and all that. And then under Elon Musk, it completely changed and turned into a place where it is now full of, according to a recent research, half of daily Twitter activity or of X activity might be by bots, by accounts that appear
robots?
to be accounts that appear to be real people, but that are actually bots ran by, for example, one person running multiple bots and so on, ran by different countries. Elon Musk also made it very, very difficult for any company or for people to easily access X from the outside and to assess how many bots are actually there, how many people are real and how many are fake. So X got really poisoned and a lot of weird stuff is going on there. And Tucker, since he left Fox, started posting his stuff on X and takes every feedback that he gets on X as legitimate, basically, and bases much of what he talks about on feedback that he gets from X. So when he then gets all the messed up stuff that is nowadays on X, it might be, he might consider it useful to just pander to that audience and to go with whatever they like. And that audience is one that is, that, for example, right now sees not Islam, but rather Jews as the bad thing. Whereas everybody knows that Islam is the religion that is out there to try and conquer the world. But, you know, he might be really under some messed up influence here, which is because of Elon.
And I recently made a video about Muhammad Hijab and how if you're a manipulator, you're manipulating people into doing what you want, but your crowd is constantly giving you feedback on what works best. And so they influence your behavior over time. But that's true not just of manipulators. There's a level of that with influencers in general. You've got your crowd and they're cheering for certain things you say and so on. And you put something out there and it gets a bunch of attention and everyone's cheering for you. And it's like, oh, I want to do more of that. Well, you can actually steer someone in certain directions. But with Elon, I don't think there's a, I think Elon has good intentions with all of this, but he's out of touch with something we've talked about many times before, which the founding fathers understood, that these freedoms were made for people who are going to handle them responsibly. And I said, it's not going to work. The entire system will break down if it's used by evil people for evil. And there have always been evil people using the system for evil, but you kind of need like vast majority of people using their freedom responsibly. So take something like right to bear arms or something like that. As long as the vast majority of people are using that responsibly, you know, if you got murderers here or there, or a school shooter here or there, something like that, you can have bad, but the entire system will work. Well, what happens if everyone is just going around blowing each other's brains out? Well, the system's not going to work. But it doesn't have to be most people misusing their freedom. You just need to get an increasing number of people not handling their freedoms responsibly for the system to break down. So anyway, with Elon, I think Elon is a true believer in just let everyone speak and and they'll figure things out and they'll get to the bottom of this and it'll all work out and so on. And they might also send everyone in a completely insane direction and bring the entire system crashing to the ground.
I mean, right now, Elon Musk is busy. I actually had to unfollow him, man. I actually had to unfollow him.
Why? Because he retweeted? No, because he commented on my post the other day?
Yes, and I can't handle that. No, because everything he posts right now is basically just AI video things, and much of it is just sexual AI stuff, playing with the thought of having AI sex bots and things like that. It's like, I don't know, man. Wasn't it like a few years ago where people were talking about Elon Musk as the great savior who is going to put an end to the declining birth rates and all that? And what's happening?
Yeah, that's some weird. I think he posted one and everyone complained about it, and then people and I think he took it down. One of those and stuff.
He created a character, an AI character that is basically just an over hypersexualized child version of a girl for lonely guys to use as a chatbot called Annie, and that you can also dress up in different ways, including basically put her in little underwear with a childlike body.
What the heck, man? How far were you checking this stuff out, man? I mean, I saw him post a little what was it? I don't even know what to call it. It's not a GIF, but anyways, yeah, it's a little cartoon figure. Pretty creepy, but yeah, it is. It is funny that he's trying to advertise the new video making features and stuff like that. And that's where it's almost like he's saying, I know this is what you guys want to do, so let's just go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Weird stuff. Back to Tucker's implosion.
in Islamic countries. An Austrian woman was convicted of, quote, disparaging religion. She was fined more than $500. Her crime was suggesting that Muhammad's marriage to a 6-year-old constituted a form of pedophilia. She claimed her comments were protected by the freedom of speech because she is a European, and traditionally they would have been, but things have changed now. So in other words, a standard that has long prevailed in the Islamic world, which is that you can be punished for criticizing Muhammad, is now the law in Europe.
So interesting. 2018, Tucker seemed to understand that this is a problem. Islam wants to crush your speech on certain issues. Seemed to understand. In other words, the point of all this is it's one thing for a person who has no clue about Islam and has no clue what Sharia teaches and has no clue about what Islam is doing to the world. It's one thing for a person like that to start going, hey, Sharia's not all that bad. It's completely different from a guy who's been reporting on this stuff for years and has interacted with a number of Muslims on this and has pointed out the problems and has pointed out the statistics and has pointed out the teachings and who knows what it's doing to the world. For that person to suddenly go, you know, Sharia, I kind of had the wrong idea about it. It's actually really awesome. And it's basically something that can save our civilization.
Basically.
Something weird.
Exactly right. The bomber was born in Britain, not some far-off land, but he still grew up to embrace Islamic radicalism and declare war on the country that raised him and kill his neighbors, in effect. There are many more like him. So when you watch the American response, even the cultural response, to an event like what happened in your country on Monday, are you surprised by how few of the lessons Americans are learning from this?
All Sharia law is bad.
And here we have 2025. He just said Sharia law. And he's about to start mocking people who think Sharia is dangerous and bad, which would have included him from 2001 to 2024. Let me back this up slightly. There we go.
Lessons Americans are learning from this?
All Sharia law is bad, Seth. I don't know if you've heard that. It's bad. It's worse than what's happening in New York and Detroit. It's just bad.
You got to stop with that creepy laugh after you say this stuff, dude. It makes you sound demon possessed. That's what it does, man. It's creepy. People keep like,
can you play it again?
We're about to look at the actual clip because this is I actually pulled up the clip so that way we won't we're not taking anything out of context and so on.
Learning from this?
All Sharia law is bad, Seth. I don't know if you've heard that. It's bad. It's worse than what's happening in New York and Detroit. It's just bad.
It's Tucker Carlson at the Real Estate Future Forum.
Oh, look at that. Look where he is.
2025.
Never been to Saudi Arabia, and I can't wait to go for a glimpse of what the future holds, because that's what you see when you go to the Gulf. Because
that's what you see. You see the future, ladies and gentlemen. Islam, Sharia, it's all the future.
Of its scale, its significance in Islam.
He's like, you know what Islam means? Submission. And like, let it hang in the air. Like that was self-evidently disgusting. And I was like, I kind of think submission to God is like the whole point of life, but I didn't say anything. I was like, I don't think I'm against that, actually.
This is an existential threat to the Western way of life. I really believe that.
Anyone who submits to God, like, I'm just for that.
Okay, so here would be the issue, AP, that we're obviously going to look at. But, I mean, this is dawah script level stuff. Hey, guys, Islam's just submission to God. Don't you want to submit to God? What's wrong with submitting to God? Why would you be opposed to submission to God? It makes no sense. Jews, Christians, everyone should be on board with submitting to God. So what's your problem with Islam? This is bad, AP. This is bad. You got all these people who spent decades building up a huge following, and then what do you do with it? Use it to blast Jews and promote Islam and Sharia.
But David.
Yeah.
Submission. It's just submission. It's just submission to God.
Sounds like it's like how Tucker Carlson became the Joker, the transformation. Hey, check this out. Let me see. Get this pulled up here. Let's see. And here we go. About right like right? Like that. All right, got that? Okay. Let's go down to Surah 4, verse 65. Tucker, you break this down for you, and all you Tucker fans.
Tucker, I know you're watching.
Again, this is dawah level. This is dawah script level stuff. Oh, Islam's just submission. Why would you have a problem with submission? It's just submission. Submission to God. Don't you believe in submission to God? Yeah, the issue isn't, and the claim of Islam isn't simply that you must submit to God. It's how you submit to God. If you just said submit to God, Jews and Christians would be on the same page with Muslims. The issue isn't that you're saying that you must submit to God. It's that Islam tells you how you submit to God. And here you have it in Surah 4, verse 65, where Allah, the one you're submitting to, says how you have to submit to him. There's a way, there's a path that you are required to follow in order to submit to him. And here's what it is. But no, Allah says, but no, by your Lord, they can have no faith, no real Islamic faith. You can't really be a Muslim. You can't really submit until what? Until they make you, O Muhammad, judge in all disputes between them and find in themselves no resistance against your decisions and accept them with full submission. You submit to Allah, Tucker, by mindlessly accepting all of Muhammad's decisions and training yourself over the course of your lifetime to have no resistance against anything Muhammad decides. In other words, if Muhammad decides that if someone like AP has to die because he's left Islam, or if Muhammad has decided that someone like me, I have to die because I criticize Muhammad and the Quran, or if he decides it's okay to bang little kids and so on, all the stuff you're familiar with, beat women and so on. If Muhammad makes that decision, the way you submit to Allah is by having absolutely no resistance against anything Muhammad has decided, and you accept all of Muhammad's decisions on all these issues with full submission. That's what submission in Islam means. Do you seriously think it's laughable for someone to have a problem with that? You giant idiot. Freaking sellout, man. Tucker.
But David, it's just submission. Why would you have a problem with submission?
Someone needs to splice that video together with like clips of the Joker laughing, man.
So weird, man.
It's extremely weird. Let's take these couple super chats, and then we're gonna check out. Let's see, what are we checking out first? Oh yeah, I did want to check out a video clip that wasn't included in there, where he's talking to a Muslim. I think this was from 2018, so still not terribly long ago. Talking 7 years ago, and seemed to think that Sharia is really bad. And then we'll check out some of his recent comments in context. Not good. This is not good that he's promoting this stuff. Sometimes when I'm having a tough day at work, I remind myself that somewhere a Mormon archaeologist is looking for the Nephites, Lamanites, Jaredites, and a dawah guy trying to answer the Islamic dilemma.
That's pretty rude.
Very rude. I love you, Dr. Wood. So you're the one. Tucker's dad passed in, I didn't know this. Tucker's dad passed in March 2025, and he also talked about it, a demonic attacks. I think he's going through some stuff. Oh, he's going through some stuff. Not the way the Al Zut were going through some stuff with Muhammad, but yep, people go through some stuff.
People go through stuff. That's what they do.
Nuxanor, not sure who that is. Sounds like a drug. Sounds like the side effects of Nuxanor are constipation and possibly death. But anyway, Nuxanor did a vid on Tucker and Candace beef with Fuentes. Two of the clips were Tucker last year talking about his dad being CIA, and then this year him saying he didn't know his dad was CIA. I did see that, where he's going, I just found out my dad was CIA. And then there are clips from last year of him saying that. Yeah, that was weird. The demon apparently not only wiped out his memories of everything Islam teaches, but also wiped out his memory of his dad being in the CIA.
Freaking demon.
Imagine trusting a guy whose last name smells musk.
That's a good argument.
Crowder would do entire shows refuting Islam back in the day. Oh, and he has some of the all-time best short videos responding to Islam. The one where he was he's being Bob Ross, painting the picture of Muhammad.
Yeah,
classic. Yeah, classic. He had a classic about Muhammad and Aisha where he shows up with a lollipop and stuff. Yep. AP, stop talking badly about Elon, or he will set you up like he did Muhammad and Job.
No.
Yeah.
Elon Musk is sending me threats. Soon something very bad is going to come out about me. And it's probably going to be related to Elon Musk.
Yep. And so, guys, you heard it here first. Next month, we're going to find out about AP's hotel wife and how he lied to her and so on. It's all going to happen. That's what Elon does. We know his MO now. Where do you find this video of Qatar Carlson? Are you talking about the Milk Bar version? If you're talking about the Milk Bar version, you can go to my Twitter. You go to Milk Bar TV. He's got it there, but I also shared it. So if you're already following me on Twitter, I shared it earlier today. So check that out. Momo and Tucker submissive and suitable. Yeah. So manliness can be injected into Muhammad, and really stupid ideas can apparently be injected into Tucker Carlson. Western countries, why so serious? Tucker, baby. Yeah. Muhammad the Chomo, if he ever existed, would be burning in hell forever. Nothing but a criminal, a Chomo, and an al-Zut fan of perversion. It's very Islamophobic. Got me agreeing with Tucker at this point. I think we need an exorcist. Mo. And one more. Nicholas says, check out news of COO of My Burger Lab restaurant chain in Malaysia getting fired for questioning harsh Sharia Friday prayer laws as being extremist. You want to check that out, AP? My Burger Lab restaurant chain. Creepy stuff. But we got plenty of Sharia fans in the world, ladies and gentlemen. Just weird that if you just go back a couple of years, people recognize it as a problem, and now you have some of the biggest conservative influencers all thinking Sharia is really, really awesome and based and possibly the solution to all our problems. All right, ready to check out this next one. So this is Tucker from 2018. We'll look at a little bit of this because it's like a pretty long clip, but we'll see what he's going to say here. It's about Islam in America, and he's talking to a Muslim convert, but like a long-time Muslim convert. Guy's been a Muslim for decades, but let's see what he's got to say here.
Are you worried about Islamic terrorism? Well, you shouldn't be, because a new poll by Pew Research finds that only 20% of Muslims believe that targeting civilians can be acceptable as a tactic to further a religious cause. That means...
See? No, he's actually being funny here. You shouldn't be, because only 20%... He's about to say only 20% of them want to kill you. That's kind of funny.
If you meet 5 Muslims, only...
Hold on. This is so messed up. Malaysia. My Burger Lab COO apologizes for post accusing Friday prayer law being extremist. My Burger Lab says Andrew Chong is no longer their COO, effective immediately. The chief operating officer of popular local burger chain My Burger Lab found himself in a sizzling situation, funny, when he recently commented on a new law.
Did they say a sizzling situation?
Yes.
What news channel is this?
This is some Malaysian thing, I think.
It's pretty funny.
And
then he got cooked. Put through the fryer.
He commented on a new law that has taken effect in the East Coast state of Terengganu. Andrew Chong shared his remark on X about a rule under the Sharia criminal offenses.
And he got his buns in an uproar over this. I'm sorry.
In the state, risk a fine of up to 300 RM, a 2-year jail term, or both, should they miss Friday prayers without a valid reason. He made a post saying, wow, slowly but surely, if Malaysia is taken over by extremism, we will become Iran after the revolution. What you see today, and that should scare everyone. Because he made this post, saying that a law which punishes people who don't appear for the Friday prayer is extremist. Because of that comment, he was attacked and fired, and the company apologized and said that no religion should be disrespected. This is so weird, man. So messed up.
Wow.
Anyway, that's Islam for you.
Awesome direction everything's heading in, ladies and gentlemen.
Beautiful.
Let's see what Tucker has to say to help speed up the process of the Islamization of the world.
One of them is likely to think it's okay to kill you. So that's good. Meanwhile, a California imam has apologized as a tactic to further a religious cause. That means if you meet 5 Muslims, only one of them is likely to think it's okay to kill you. So that's good. Meanwhile,
I'm saying, what happened to that Tucker? That Tucker was actually cool, right? Now it's, who would think like that? God.
A California imam is apologizing after he referred to Jews as filth. Watch.
O Allah, liberate the Al-Aqsa Mosque from the filth of the Jews. O Allah, count them one by one and annihilate them down to the very last one. Do not spare any of them.
Why's that dude got a Santa hat on, man?
I don't know. But
Christmas is haram.
What? There is actually a Turkish introduced hat from Turkish Ottoman Empire occupation and stuff, but they just kept it. The thing is, what this imam is saying there, this prayer, count them one by one and so on. You might have heard that before. This is actually a regular prayer. This is a regular prayer held in the so-called Palestinian territories by Muslims and also close to them in the region. So every now and then it comes up that an imam said these horrible, horrible, horrible things, but this is actually a very regular, a very common prayer that they do all the time. So,
yeah, I also see people wondering if that's sarcasm. Yeah, he's being sarcastic there. Like, yeah, if you run into 5 Muslims, only one of them thinks it's okay to kill you. So that's good. Yeah, that's Tucker being sarcastic. That's how he was back in the day. And people are pointing out this is pre-demon. This is pre-demonic attack, Tucker.
That's before he was molested by a demon.
That's before he got al-zooted by that demon.
So do we have Islam all wrong? Is it actually a tolerant faith? Bob Morrow is a convert to Islam. He was a longtime Foreign Service officer.
Oh, Bob Marley? What?
This is your Muslim? This guy? Rocking his American flag pin there?
It don't look like no Muslim to me.
Does this look like a Muslim to you, AP?
No.
This guy looks Sharia compliant, remotely Sharia compliant?
Nope.
No. Isn't it interesting that these are the guys that represent Islam to a Western audience?
For the State Department, where he converted. A trustee now at the Al Dulles Area Muslim Society, and he joins us on the set. Bob, thanks a lot for coming on.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So, I actually know a lot of decent, peaceful Muslims, so I'm not here to impugn a faith or a people or anything like that.
Hey, this is weird. He says, he just said, I know a lot of wonderful, peaceful Muslims. In one of the clips, he's like, when people started telling me about Islam, I don't even know if I'd ever met a Muslim. It's like, wait, what? Let's see. Maybe he forgot about them.
But 1 in 5 say it's okay to kill in the name of furthering a religious cause. That seems like a pretty troubling number.
It would be. I don't believe it. You know, from my experience with the people that I've seen, the people that I've talked to over the last, I've been a Muslim for 37 years. The people that I've talked to, the number is now nowhere near that. You know.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you for telling us that. We're going to believe you now.
Yeah, this guy's, he's making the classic blunder that people have always made when we say, hey, here's what Islam teaches, or here's what the statistics show. It's, but I know I got a Muslim friend from school and he doesn't think that at all. So you don't know what you're talking about. It's like, okay, here are the statistics where people were polled, Muslims were polled, and here's the result of the statistics. Or you're saying, here's a quote from the Quran or Muhammad or something like that. Well, that doesn't make any sense because I know Muslim and he doesn't believe that. Okay, just to be clear. Your Muslim friend, the nice Muslim, it's great. It's great if you have a Muslim friend who's actually nice and sincere and doesn't want to subjugate the world. That's great. But the problem is your nice Muslim friend is not, has never been, and never will be an authoritative source of Islamic doctrine or practice. Just not. And if this guy is saying, oh, well, you know, the poll says 20%, but, you know, I know Muslims, blah, blah, blah. Okay, dude. I don't think you've run into some of the people, some of the same people that we've run into or that you've seen. Let me just break it down. Dude, do you think all these Muslims who are calling for all this stuff and have these huge followings, do you think that's just staged? Because saying, hey, that's not how things are at my mosque is not a serious response to this, but that's this dude's response. Anyway, weird stuff.
In this area,
we're not talking about this area.
To the Adams Center, you wouldn't find a single person who would say that.
Okay, great. Let's go ahead and grant in your area and at your Islamic center, there's not one Muslim who thinks it's ever okay to kill the kuffar and so on. Great.
Okay,
what does that have to do with what?
What a relief.
What a relief.
That's.
I believe that, but my guess is that, there are a lot of well-educated, affluent Muslims in this area around D.C. But I've seen a bunch of polls like this that show that the attitude.
You know who else saw a bunch of polls? Muhammad. The night of Al-Zut.
Attitudes of faithful Muslims are not Western at all, and that they include a tolerance.
Hey, that was quick. People have a point. I'm not as slow as I think I am.
Yeah, you see.
Hey, so when it comes to someone saying Christianity is based and cutting them off, I'm still super sharp. And when it comes to Al-Zut jokes, I still got it. Not the way Muhammad got it, but I still got it. All right, that's good.
Violence you don't find among, say, Presbyterians or Jews. So what? That's not good.
I have not seen that specific poll myself, so I can't say for sure. But all I can speak is from my personal experience, and that would be absolutely impossible to believe based on what I've seen.
Do you hear this? Based on my personal experience of the people, the actual studies are impossible to believe. What's this mean? You could line up 1,000 studies showing this stuff about what Muslims actually believe. You can have Pew Research showing how what percentage of Muslims in various countries want Sharia, want the death penalty for apostasy, and so on. This guy would believe absolutely none of it because he knows Muslims who just aren't like that. Great point. Great point, guy.
So a lot of Americans are concerned about Sharia law.
Sure.
And they're concerned about polls that show a strikingly large number of Muslims would like to see it supplant civil law in the countries in which they live. Great Britain, for instance, a huge percentage would like to see it become the law of Great Britain. And in the United States, pretty large number say the same. But in England, it's 4 out of 10 British Muslims. In France, 29% of French Muslims would like to see it replace French law.
So there you're talking about Sharia actually replacing the current legal systems.
Why shouldn't that make Americans nervous as more Muslims move here?
If those figures are accurate there, they're certainly not accurate here.
That's good.
I have not met any one person ever who would ever say that they want to supplant U.S. law.
I've met a ton of Muslims in the U.S. who openly declare they want Islamic law to be supreme. And he's saying, dude, you have no business talking if you've never met any Muslims who take this stuff seriously, dude. You live in a bubble somewhere. Your opinion is officially irrelevant on all of this stuff if you've never met any of these guys and you don't know why they think
We even invited this. Like, well, why did they invite this guy? He's not even answering any questions. He's just, I personally, I've never seen anything like that. No, there's no such people where I live. No, I have never seen anything like that. No.
Yeah, I mean, just imagine if you had this reasoning. You're like, hey, look at the. I mean, you could just imagine people responding in this way to anything else. Like, hey, you have a serious murder problem in Chicago. Well, in my area, I'm not in Chicago, but in my area, we don't even have a murder problem. So I can't believe that that's an issue in Chicago. I can't believe that. I can't believe that because my personal experience trumps all of reality, apparently.
Well, in my area, we don't even have problems.
Yep.
Of people who came here to the United States came here because they want to live in America. They want to live under the U.S. Constitution. They want freedom of religion. They want freedom of politics. They want the freedoms that are that every American wants. Sharia law for them is simply religious practice.
Like what?
If you wanted to say that Muslims could not practice their religion here, for example, if they said, well, everyone This is a Christian country. Everyone has to pray on Sunday. All church services have to be on Sundays only. People would object to that. Muslims want to be able to practice their religion the way that it's being taught.
But
practice their religion? Does that include banging prepubescent little girls, killing apostates, and so that's part of the religion? And if
it's part of the religion, so
yeah, if you don't know that much, you seriously should not be representing Islam, unless you're just kind of handpicked. You're kind of handpicked as someone who can dupe people.
In countries with high percentages of Muslims, I think every country with a high percentage of Muslims, there's not religious pluralism, actually. I don't know of a single Gulf country where it's illegal to proselytize on behalf of another religion. I think that in every Muslim majority country in the world, non-Muslims are treated, have fewer rights.
You hearing this, AP? Tucker seems to know some things enough to say every single Muslim country has a problem with certain things. And if you ask now, no.
Huh? Who says that? It seems like Israeli propaganda. What are we really doing? Is this something that Israel taught us to say?
It's weird. So the Al-Zut injected manliness into Muhammad, but whatever demon scratched Tucker seemed to have ripped out what he actually knew about Islam.
Yeah.
This is strange.
That's very strange.
So
very strange.
Why wouldn't that give Americans pause, again, as many Muslims are moving here?
Not true. There are many countries, Malaysia, for example,
Not
Indonesia, many countries that are Muslim majority.
What country did you just name? Malaysia. What did we just read about Malaysia, AP?
Malaysia literally has regions with strict Sharia law. It also has a limited number of religions that it actually formally recognizes, and there are severe restrictions on preaching to Muslims, for example.
Wasn't there some burger story that we just read?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I seem to remember something like that. Yeah.
Isn't that interesting, guys? Wow.
Enshrine the rights of other non-Muslim faiths.
Oh, really?
He didn't say that other faiths. Tucker didn't say that other faiths had no rights. He said they have fewer rights.
Now, in Malaysia, there are people. You will find people who will say, "Oh, no. You have to follow certain of the things that are more appropriate to Islam." But the majority of people there are not like that. You're always going to find some crazy people who want to.
But wait a second. I mean, every Arab country, every single one has separate rights for Muslims and non-Muslims. In every single Christian majority country I'm aware of.
Fast forward 7 years, he has no idea about any of this, guys.
Religious pluralism is the law. So there's a massive difference in outlook. A lot of Muslims
Look at what he just said.
He compared Islam not just as a rule.
He compared Muslim majority countries and Christian majority countries. Look at this.
People there are not like that. You're always going to find some crazy people who want to.
But wait a second. I mean, every Arab country, every single one has separate rights for Muslims and non-Muslims. In every single Christian majority country I'm aware of, religious pluralism is the law. So there's a massive difference in outlook. A lot of Muslims seem to see Islam not just as a religion, but as a political system. I mean, that seems real to me. Why?
That seems real to me for now.
Well, you're talking about religious versus cultural attitudes. Okay. And in a lot of those countries, they are cultural attitudes. If you read the Quran specifically says that you must tolerate. There is no compulsion in religion.
Wait, it says you must tolerate?
Yeah, and what he quoted Surah 2, verse 256. There's no compulsion in religion. Hey, buddy, what's his name? Bob Morrow, Muslim convert. Let me see if I have court. I have court to be right here.
The funny thing is, I want to point out very quickly. He says it's a cultural component that these countries have different rights for Muslims and different rights for different religions. Excuse me. Those countries base that explicitly on Islamic law.
Yeah, and look, buddy. I have one of the volumes of Qurtubi here. Do everyone a favor. Check out the tafsir of Al-Qurtubi, because he does something interesting. He gives all of the Muslim interpretations of Surah 2, verse 256, of all the Muslim commentators down to his time. There are a lot of different understandings and interpretations of Surah 2, verse 256. Go through them all, and he gives a bunch. Go through them all and find one that agrees with your interpretation of it, what you just said. Find one. No one thought it means what you just said. Why? Because they're aware of what the rest of the Quran says. Fight those who do not believe. They're aware of what Muhammad said. I've been commanded to fight people until they say there's no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger. They're aware of those things. So their interpretations they have to be consistent with other things that Muhammad said. And if you go with like Ibn Kathir says it's just abrogated. It was abrogated by later commands to fight people based on what they believe. And it's Ibn Kathir's commentary on 256, where he says, therefore, all people should be invited to Islam and to pay the jizya. And if they refuse to convert and they refuse to pay the jizya, they should be fought till they are killed. Don't you think it might be helpful to point that out if we're actually trying to understand Islam? In other words, if you're giving an interpretation that no Muslim held for centuries of Islam, don't you think that might be relevant to this discussion? Anyway, in other words, massive deception. And keep in mind, that doesn't mean he's lying. He may believe this nonsense because someone told it to him and he's never bothered to read any of his sources. But the fact that he's just on television to be spouting complete nonsense, and other people, wow, no compulsion religion. I guess all these jihadis and 14th centuries and Muslims all got all this wrong. This guy knows. It's repulsive. It's repulsive. You just wish. I mean, Tucker, he knows more than most, at least in 2018 he did. But wouldn't it be just great if someone were knowledgeable enough, reporters, journalists would be knowledgeable enough to say, wait a minute, you said 256, no compulsion of religion? Let's go through this commentary real quick. Hang on. That's all you need to do. Disgusting.
The second chapter of the Quran specifically says that, and specifically enshrines the rights of other people for their religious practice, especially people of the book.
So you often hear people say, well, Sharia is intolerant, women are treated badly, gays are treated badly. And then you hear people say, no, actually, it's an early form of feminism and women are empowered. But then if you look at it, actually women have, in the Quran, fewer rights than men do. And that just seems incompatible with attitudes in the West right now.
Isn't it weird how much he knew about Islam just 7 years ago that he has no clue about right now? It's weird, man. It's weird. What happened to him? All this was, some sort of amnesia, right? He just lost all these memories. Or was bribed out of them.
He got all zooted by the demon.
His brain, he zooted my brain in the desert.
Well, but think about it. What were the attitudes in the West when the Quran was first revealed? Women didn't have any rights in the West. But in Islam, women had specific rights. They had the right to own property. They had the right to inherit property. They had the right to testify in courts.
They had the right to property beforehand. Muhammad's first wife, before Islam was even a thing, Khadijah, was a very wealthy woman. That's why she could pick her next boy toy, Muhammad.
But they also had the right to be beaten. Did other people have that right?
Yeah, so that's what's interesting. They'll say, Islam gave women these rights. How did women in Arabia have these rights before Islam gave them these rights? They obviously had these rights. She was able to propose marriage. She was a wealthy woman and was able to propose marriage to Muhammad. How is that possible? How was she a wealthy woman if they didn't have the right to have property until Muhammad came along? And we listen here, sport. We can't ignore what women during the time of Muhammad said about the impact of Islam on them. What did Aisha say? A woman who learned Islam from Muhammad himself as he was inserting this knowledge into her. She She said, "I have not seen any woman suffering as much as the believing women. Muslim women were treated worse than non-Muslim women, than pagan women, according to Aisha herself." How does this guy not know this basic information? What are you giggling about, silly?
Did you really have to say it like that?
Oh, yeah. Well, no, I didn't have to, but I chose to.
Rights didn't come in the West until the 20th century.
I think that's all true.
In the West of the 20th century. The United States didn't exist back then, dude. Oh, boy.
But we're in the 21st century.
I know.
And things are very different now.
Yeah.
And so you still, for example, in countries governed by Sharia, see things like female testimony being less valuable than male testimony.
So Tucker knows about the testimony of women being less valuable than the testimony of men. I'm saying that because he definitely forgot that. He definitely forgot that, as we're about to see. But he knew it back then. Yeah, Tucker, and that's actually in the Quran, and that's actually in the Hadith. And Muhammad said that the reason a woman's testimony is half as reliable as a man's is because of the deficiency of women's minds.
Yes.
Rights are different for daughters than they are for sons. Men and women are not treated equally under Sharia right now. So why is that not a problem if we're trying to assimilate a lot of Muslims into this country?
Well, are you saying it's a problem in those countries or a problem in the United States?
I'm saying, look, I'm interested in America, and there's a massive effort on the part of the left to import a lot of Muslims here for whatever reason. And I'm not against it necessarily, but I just think that it's really important for people to assimilate to the values of the country to which they're moving.
And they do.
And I'm worried that they won't because it's so different. Their attitudes are so different from ours.
No, not really. Because most of the people who have come here are different people. They're a very well-educated group. Many people came here for advanced studies. They came here to practice in various professions.
Nothing to worry about.
And under Sharia law, let's say just on the concept of inheritance, you can follow with what the Quran says about inheritance, or you can follow what the Constitution says about inheritance.
Right.
So it's really a choice between the individuals. No one is forced to. If somebody wants to follow that and say, all right, I'm going to
follow whatever you want,
and I hope they will. Bob Morrow, I have to say, I disagree with you, but you are a great spokesman for what you believe.
Well, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Well, you'll be happy to know, Bob Morrow, that Tucker eventually came around to seeing things your way, and he's actually a vocal proponent of Sharia now, and thinks that it's awesome.
Congratulations, Bob Marley, you did it.
Bob Marley did it again.
If I did it again.
Couple super chats, and then we're going to see the new Tucker, ladies and gentlemen, the new Tucker. Charitard says, still a Mug Club member. Hope to see you and Crowder collab or do an interview sometime. Yeah, he asked me to do that a long, long time ago when I just wasn't I wasn't interested in collaborating with anyone. And then a couple years later, I asked him to collaborate on something and then didn't get a response. So probably not going to happen. But picking up a career in sucking off Muslims seems to be a concomitant of hating on the Jews. Nick low-key does it too.
Yeah, he does it. He do that.
I just had a flashback to a dude named Sarad. He was talking to me and Nabil, and he said concomitant, and we both go, "What the heck did you just say?" He says concomitant. It's like, we both said, "Quit making up words," right? And he says, "No, it means they go together. You can't have one without the other." And then we had to look it up. Turns out it was actually a real word. Well, funny.
Nice. Nothing.
Has Tucker taken to the manliness injections like Muhammad? First it was Putin, and now it's Qatari men. Maybe they just take turns. Yep, all sorts of interesting ideas being injected into Tucker. 20% of 1 billion people. Yeah, I would call that concerning. It's actually 2 billion. Islam is the synagogue of Baal Hubal. That's the second dilemma. It's like being told you're adopted into the family of Abraham, but it was actually Caligula. The fact that Tucker knows better means he's willfully evil or possessed by Scratchy the Demon. Scratchy the Demon, that's funny. Yeah, that is interesting because, again, if you if you're completely ignorant and you just go based on what some people told you and you have no idea about the statistics or no idea about the reality or no idea what's actually going on in Muslim countries, and you think Islam is great because that's just what you've been bombarded with your entire life, not bombarded the way, Muhammad was, but like you've been bombarded with these ideas your entire life by journalists and politicians and educators and entertainers and so on, and you say it, doesn't mean you're evil. If you actually know and then you start praising it, that does seem willfully evil. So yes, Tucker is seems to be a different sort of guy right now. Do a show with Shamunian on Second Dilemma. He loves y'all. Probably not going to happen. Hello, good to see you all. Yes. Hey, Ida, how you doing?
What's up, Ida? Ida is beast.
If any other group had the propensity towards violent and subjugating behavior, terrorism, etc., they would be banned, but not followers of Islam. Yeah. Yeah, Muslims are in a special category because they're victims. Anna Kasparian is spreading the dancing Israeli conspiracy theory and claims Israel is going to kill her. Yeah, I saw her. I'm not suicidal. If it happened to me, everyone's saying the same thing. Oh, if anything happened to me, it's because the Jews. Seriously, guys, Mossad could take you out anytime you want, but you just keep running your mouths. Kind of seems like they're not terribly concerned about you.
Yeah.
The Young Turks has somehow become crazier. Yeah, seemed impossible, but it's true.
Maybe there needs to be a going after the Young Turks thing to be done. Maybe we need to go after the Young Turks.
Dude, I told you, I gave you this awesome idea like about a month ago, and I said we should do a regular show. It's called Jews React. We'll get a couple of our Jewish friends, and we just play clips for them of all the insane things people are saying, and just get their reactions. Because you really have these people who've just never interacted with Jews except on like Twitter and have no clue what it's like to actually just talk to a Jew person to person and see, actually, they don't say all this stuff you support. And anyway, let's see. Why has the spirit of stupid infected the planet? Yeah, the entire planet has apparently been al-zooted by the spirit of stupid. All right.
The spirit of stupid.
Now for the new Tucker, everyone. We've got, not the nude Tucker, the new Tucker. And this is an interview he did, this was just weird. It's a guy who's like concerned about the drug industry and stuff like this and people getting addicted to drugs and all this stuff. And Tucker just like randomly starts inserting, I mean, come on, Islam's the solution for all this stuff. But here he's talking about Afghanistan. So here we go, guys. They're going to be talking about Afghanistan and how the Taliban's a solution to all the problems of the world, apparently.
The Taliban, we hear so much about the Taliban's oppression of women and making music illegal, and they do those things. The Taliban is an arch-conservative movement whose ethics and morality I absolutely do not share. However,
I never understood why I was supposed to give a shit about that.
Did you hear this? I've never understood why I'm supposed to care.
So when he talked about it in the past like that, he didn't really understand why he was supposed to care.
Yeah. And so guys, if I'm sure everyone here is familiar with the stories, like what they're doing. People, families selling their 6-7-year-old daughters to guys to go have sex with. Girls not being allowed to go to school anymore. I've never understood why we should care about any of this. Why? Why would I care? Why would I care about little girls their lives being? Why would I care? Why would I care about this old man banging this tiny little girl? Why would I care? Why would I care? Interesting stuff.
I want everyone to be free just as a matter of principle, but that didn't. But moving, metric tons of heroin into my country, that seems like a real story. Whether people can, girls can get PhDs in feminist studies or whatever.
We're not talking about girls getting PhDs in feminist studies, Tucker. We're talking about girls being allowed to be educated at all. You don't think that's important. You now think that's why would you have no reason to be at all concerned about that? That's what you're saying.
Less concern to me, right?
Right. Well, the Afghan people didn't like it either, all the drug trafficking that was going on in their country. And what made the Taliban popular originally was their suppression of the drug industry in Afghanistan.
That's what made the Taliban popular, is they're going to take on the drug industry. That's how the Taliban rose to power, according to this program. Was they're the ones who are going to do something about drug problems, guys. That's how they took over. They said, "Hey, we're going to launch a war on drugs," and everyone said, "Wow, these are our guys."
So if the Taliban, if an Islamist organization came and took over in America, and they also banned all women from going to school, Tucker would be like, "Well, at least they're solving the drug problem."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and think about this. We've seen the Pew Research before. 99% of Muslims in Afghanistan want Sharia to be the law of the land. The Taliban come along and say, "Hey, we're the ones who are going to impose. We're the ones who are going to impose Sharia." But no, the real reason that the Taliban took over was everyone's just sitting there going, "Wow, what are we going to do about our country exporting lots of heroin? These are the guys who are going to stop this great evil." So that's what happened, ladies and gentlemen. So the reason the Taliban took over is because the population of Afghanistan are so radically anti-drug.
They took over and eliminated all of the drug production that was taking place there, because you can see how it's ideologically consistent with their Sharia law.
Mm-hmm.
They don't tolerate drugs. They don't tolerate alcohol either. So they get rid of all of it.
Sharia law is bad, Seth. I don't know if you've heard that. It's bad. It's worse than what's happening in New York and Detroit. It's just bad. I don't know why. It's just like years.
Did you just hear that? I don't know why. I don't know why people think Sharia is bad. We just saw the clips of him for 23 years. We saw he seemed to understand the problems with Sharia. Now it's laughable. It's laughable that anyone would be concerned about Sharia. Why? Because all Sharia does is end heroin trade.
Does Tucker drink alcohol? Is he against alcohol too? I don't know. But which cities did he just mention? New York
I think Detroit and New York. Let's see.
Oh, why? It's just like bad.
So they get rid of all of it.
Sharia law is bad, Seth. I don't know if you've heard that. It's bad. It's worse than what's happening in New York and Detroit. It's just bad. I don't know why. It's just like years of brainwashing. I'm not Muslim. I'm not for Sharia law. On the other hand,
Tucker, you shouldn't support the Taliban for doing away with drugs when you sound like you're on something, dude.
But think about this. Think about New York. David, you just went to New York.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with all the problems aside, with all the problems in mind, with things that might be, that might be bad in New York, that might be kind of out of order and all of that, it's still not a horrible place to live, right? Would you rather live in New York or Afghanistan?
New York in a heartbeat. And here's what's positive about New York and Detroit. People are still in a position where you get what you want. You guess what? People of New York and people of Detroit, you are free to fix this anytime you want. And you see places where people are getting sick of the way things have been going and they're deciding to turn in another direction. You want to change how screwed up Afghanistan is? You are dead. They will kill you. You cannot fix it. It's unfixable. At least for right now. Could always be some, way down the road, something might change or something like that. Places where people are free to change minds, to convince people to change things, where people can vote for leaders who are going to change things. You have the ability to fix things when they're going terribly, terribly wrong. Afghanistan, you are stuck. You're stuck with it. So I would take pretty much anything over something like the Taliban.
What, you
Not
think
Tucker.
New York is better than Sharia?
Oh, New York's about to get way, way worse the way things are looking. But guess what? You hope that when things get way worse, people correct course and try to make things better. Or it just goes down and completely implodes. But that's what if that's what people decide, then the people who don't want that can actually leave and go somewhere else inside the country where they can go to a place that's actually better. And if the people who remain decide that they want to implode, then okay, they'll implode. Afghanistan, what do you do? What do you do? Very, very hard to come back from Sharia or to fix anything. And it's a laughing matter to Tucker. It's hilarious.
Sharia, what?
Sharia.
You remind me of the Oz
Compared to Baltimore? You know, shut up. Sharia law.
I'd take Baltimore in a heartbeat.
Baltimore's
over
better than
Afghanistan.
Yep.
The fact that Tucker thinks all these places are worse than Afghanistan is kind of insane.
Well, in
Sorry, Sharia law.
In Afghanistan, the effect of implementing Sharia law was the total suppression of the heroin industry and the decimation of the world's supply of heroin.
And a massive reduction in the rape of boys. They didn't like that.
That's
the
another
Taliban's just been
subject
good. You
that's
hear it?
absolutely part of this, and I almost hesitate to go there because it is a parallel. Everything I'm saying about drugs could also be talked about. I can't believe I'm even saying this, but child sex trafficking was something that took place. It was something that the U.S.-backed client state was deeply implicated in child sex trafficking. Another thing that's falsely laid at the feet of the Taliban and said, this is just part of Afghan culture, when that is not true.
You hear this, AP?
I'm looking at the stats right now. There has been no decrease reported at all in child trafficking under the Taliban.
Yeah, AP. I mean, aren't the stories we see about little girls being handed over to these old complete perverts who who are like 50, 60, 70, 80 years old, and they're taking 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old girls and having sex with them? And these guys know the Taliban brought nothing but peace and prosperity and the end of the drug trade and the end of trafficking, man. Why would anyone have a problem with Sharia? Hey.
In fact, in 2024, it was reported that there's serious child recruitment and sexual slavery done under the Taliban in Afghanistan right now.
Yeah, but that can't possibly have anything to do with Sharia. And to prove it, I will go to the Quran here. Let's see what we have here. We have Surah 23, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. Successful indeed are the believers. That's good. Yes, believers are successful. Those who offer their salat with all solemnity and full submissiveness, and those who turn away, from dirty, false, evil, vain talk, falsehood, and all that Allah has forbidden, and those who pay the zakat. So these are the good guys. They pay the zakat. And those who guard their chastity, i.e. private parts, from illegal sexual acts. Yes, like trafficking, because Islam does away with trafficking. Those who guard their chastity, except from their wives or the captives and slaves that their right hands possess, for then they are free from blame. Catch this, guys? You're allowed to have sex with your wives, captives, and slaves that their right hands possess. What is it? What is it when you take a girl as your slave and you pass her around to another guy and you sell her as a slave and so on? We call that trafficking. Tucker and his buddy just told the entire world, no, Islam, the Taliban does away with trafficking. AP looked up the statistics. Bull. So even if you wanted to say, okay, well, maybe they're just not following Islam, maybe they're making things better, AP called bull, and I called bull by going to the Quran, which promotes sex trafficking. Isn't that weird?
Islam is about sex trafficking.
Yeah.
Islam contains sex trafficking. Islam ran a whole sex trafficking and sex slavery ring for over 1,000 years.
Mm-hmm. And here you have also talking about who the good guys are. And I say, except those devoted to salat prayers, those who remain constant in their prayers, and those whose wealth there is a known right, and so on. Keeps going. And those who fear the torment of the Lord, verily the torment of the Lord is before none who can feel so. And those who guard their chastity, i.e. private parts from illegal sexual acts, except with their wives and the women slaves and captives whom their right hands possess, for then they are not to be blamed. You are not to be blamed for having sex with your slave girls and captives. Huh. But Tucker says something else. So, Tucker has a show, has a popular show, tells us how great Islam is, how great Sharia is for ending some of these horrible, evil practices. It's false according to the Quran and false according to actual reality. But they'll say
to be fair, when it comes to Islam, should I trust what the Quran says or what Tucker Carlson says?
Yeah, you should trust that. You should trust that dude, Bob Marley, that we already saw. Exactly. Trust Bob Marley and not Tucker from 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or anything like that. Trust Tucker Carlson now.
Alhamdulillah.
And don't trust anything else. That's where we are, guys. That's where we are in the world. This is sick evil stuff. Wow. Take a couple of super chats, and we're going to look at another clip from that same interview, and then one from a different interview. Why does Tucker need Qatar money? He's a Nepo baby. Sarah Lee fortune. Really? Sarah Lee? Is he? That's crazy. That's some serious bucks there, man. Nobody doesn't like Sarah Lee. People always thought they were saying nobody doesn't like Sarah Lee. But they're saying was nobody doesn't like Sarah Lee. Isn't that a weird saying?
That's a very weird saying.
Nobody doesn't like Sarah Lee. You guys should either make a video or react to Sean the Muslim. Have you heard of Sean the Muslim?
No, I heard of Sean the Sheep, but not Sean the Muslim.
Yeah, we haven't heard of Sean the Muslim. It's just bad. Oh, yeah. It's just bad. Imagine getting interviewed by Tucker and him acting like he's possessed. Something's wrong with him. Point out he's wrong, but please pray for him. Something definitely wrong with that dude.
Do it. The thing is, so I just I asked the question on Twitter and lots of people responded. And I also checked with some other people. So there are lots of, for example, when it comes to the whole Israel issue, he recently had this whole interview with that so-called nun, and lots of Israeli Christians, for example, offered to talk to him to give him the experience of Israeli Christians. He refuses. He rejects. He does not respond to them. He clearly has an agenda here. It doesn't serve his agenda to talk to people who will tell him things that disagree or that conflict with his interests, So, I don't know. He's onto something evil.
Definitely seems like something evil.
Evil.
Agent Carolina says, potential music and animation collabs. Breakfast Gun, Sal, The Cross Crusader, making relevant playlists to share because I don't know what that means. Evangelist temperament.
Powerful.
Sal's based. Apparently, it's not child trafficking if it's muta.
Child muta.
Sharia, you've really got to see her. That's true. Women's voices are now banned from being heard in public in Afghanistan. Oh, yeah, but we can hear Tucker's cackle, apparently. That's perfectly acceptable. They love that. They cannot even speak to each other. Yep, we've seen those articles too, ladies and gentlemen. Tucker thinks, well, why should we care about that? The Taliban's doing such a bang-up job, and they're ending human trafficking without there being any detectable evidence of it. When I served in Afghanistan, I had to read the rules the Taliban had for the young teenage boys they took to their tents. My Afghan advisor, who was born and raised there, told me the Taliban are notorious for pederasty. Well, who are we supposed to listen to? People who've been there or Tucker Carlson's cackle?
Of course, Tucker Carlson's cackle.
Obviously, guys. Keep in mind, the Taliban is... I mean, just think about this guy. They're talking about the Taliban, and all they had for the Taliban was praise about the great job they're doing in cleaning up the sex trafficking trade and the drug trade. Do you ever talk about specifically Shia beliefs? Only when it comes up, but the vast majority of Muslims are Sunni, so we tend to focus on that.
Yeah, when we talk about Islam, it's always Sunni. So.
All right. Let's check out. Always Sunni on our show. Always Sunni. So now more on Sharia. And now we're going to find out how awesome Sharia is, everyone.
You know, again, I'm not...
More on Sharia. And this super bass dude.
Oh, again.
What's crazy is this guy's on here to talk about dealing with like drug problems and stuff like that. And Tucker uses it as an opportunity to praise and promote the Taliban and Sharia. This is from way later in the episode, but Tucker brings it right back to how great Sharia is. So here we go.
I'm not here to be a drug warrior or paternalistic or to lecture people who struggle with substance abuse, but I certainly agree with you that that should be a value.
But you should know, Seth, that the real danger is Sharia law.
You hear this? He just randomly inserts this. Not the way the Al Zut did, but just randomly tosses in there but this guy's like, oh, we got a real problem here, man. We got a real, well, yeah, but you should know the real problem is Sharia. Is mocking the idea that people are concerned about Sharia. Freaking lunatic, man.
Sharia law. And you can tell when you go to a place like Abu Dhabi or Riyadh, like, oh man, I hope we don't ever wind up with a society like this with a rape rate of zero, where you leave your keys in your Lamborghini and don't ever worry about it being stolen. And you know, if people want to get wasted, they do it at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hope we don't wind up with that.
Yeah. Yeah, zero.
Yeah, I think that, Sharia law is obviously just a punchline. I don't know that too many people actually believe in the reality of that. And sure.
Yeah, not a lot of people really believe that this is all a problem. We know that these places are really awesome and that they have no crime and no abuse of women and so on. And it's really great. Yeah. And we should be ashamed.
Everybody wants to live in a Sharia country.
Yeah, that's why everyone keeps moving to Western nations.
They need to stop moving to Sharia countries. Leave those Sharia countries alone, man. Stay where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I'm a lawyer. I actually studied legal philosophy. Right. Sharia is not that different from other legal codes. A lot of our own legal code, the Anglo-Saxon common law, Anglo-American common law, derives ultimately from religious authorities.
Hope so.
Yeah, see? So it's basically the same as Sharia, guys.
There's a lot of universal. There's a lot of universal values.
Universal values.
Hammurabi's code is recognizable. I wouldn't want to live under it. It's kind of punitive, but it's not. Like
I don't know why people do this. I studied this field. I studied I studied letters. Therefore, let me tell you about the Quran.
Yeah, dude, he just said it. I'm a lawyer, so I studied law. Therefore, I know about Sharia. Say what now? Say what? So in the course of your various lawyerings and going to law school, they're like, hey, let's do these courses on Sharia, so we really understand Sharia. And he's like, so I can appeal to my personal knowledge and wisdom on this topic because I'm a lawyer. And as we all know, lawyers are the highest authorities on matters of Sharia.
I personally studied law, so therefore I can tell you all about the apostasy laws in Islam. And why are you doing this? Why do people do this?
And
you don't
Tucker,
know anything. You do not know anything.
Yeah, but think about this. The guy just said, so yeah, it's, Sharia is not very different from other legal systems. Tucker, that's right. You remember how Tucker pointed out how Sharia and these countries are so radically different?
Yeah.
He seemed to know it before 2025. He knew it. And now he thinks you're an idiot if you think that. This is fun stuff. Let's see where they go with this.
Another planet. The oldest legal code that we have, Hammurabi's code, it's not Like, you sort of know what he's talking about, right?
Look, I agree, yeah. And look, they put up 10 commandments in front of I live in Austin, Texas, and they put up the 10 commandments in front of the state capitol. And that's controversial among, religious libertarians. But I'm of the view that I'm happy to see them put the 10 commandments up there if they would just follow them, I
agree.
Starting with thou shalt not kill.
I couldn't agree more.
Hang on. Wait, did you just hear that? What do they like about the 10 Commandments? Thou shalt not kill. If only people would follow that. Okay, so you guys think it's a good idea to honor the principle, thou shalt not kill. Do you think both of us should be killed? Because according to Sharia, both of us should be killed. So take you're saying, I don't even know what to do here, man. Islam says Sharia says both of us here, and probably most of the people in the chat all have to die. And we've got more knowledgeable people than you sending us messages about how if they get their way, we're dead. And you guys are, it's just the same thing. I mean, you've got, our law here, and it's just the same thing. And what we really need to focus on is this universal value of thou shalt not kill. And you're promoting and praising a system that literally calls for our deaths and calls for your subjugation because you're a bunch of complete morons, but you're not Muslims, and therefore you have to be violently subjugated, even if they love you, because you're defending and promoting their.
You know what's funny? Tucker Carlson's show basically sounds like, especially when he comments on things, like just listening to that bit right now, where he's just bringing up random things and then talking on a very surface, on a very stupid level about Hammurabi and all that. It's just, it sounds like, like a very poorly informed person who just hears random things here and there, sitting with friends and just bringing up random stuff to sound smart. That's basically what it sounds like. It's like, nothing that he says here is in any way reasonable. Nothing is actually informative. And then he brings on guests, and then he brings up completely unrelated topics to them and starts praising Sharia when talking to a person about drug problems and all that. What is this, man? This is really the new media?
And here's what's interesting, AP, and if you go way back in this episode where Tucker was talking about the testimony of women not being as reliable as the testimony of men. And then here he talks about, hey, if you go to these Gulf countries, they have no rape. They have no rape. Tucker, you might want to see why they get the statistics they do. You know why, Tucker? Because a woman gets raped and then she goes in and reports it to the authorities and they say, well, he says it didn't happen. And then you know what they do? You know what they do then, Tucker? They say, oh, well, he says he didn't do it. You say it happened. So we can't prove anything against him. But guess what? You just admitted that you had sex with someone. So you've acknowledged he's not admitting it. You're admitting that you had sex. And therefore, what happens? They put the woman in prison. And that sends a very clear message to other women not to report on what happens to them. And what happens? Well, then you got no record of rape there. Isn't that great? So wouldn't that be a much better system? But don't take my word for it. Just pulled this up. Don't even know what this is going to say. But Dubai's shameful record on rape. The arrest of a British woman allegedly raped in Dubai mirrors harsh Middle Eastern attitudes towards women and attitudes to women and sexual assault. Huh. That's weird. Huh. What's going on here? Let me see.
There's no sexual assault in the Middle East. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, not that you can prove. Dubai sees and markets itself as a tolerant, cosmopolitan city where East meets West, where Occidental comforts and luxury sit cozily and apparently easily with the Arab Islamic culture. As many visitors to the UAE notice and have mentioned to me, alcohol is readily available in hotels and restaurants. In other words, this isn't even your prime example of a Sharia-compliant country, but they still maintain their attitudes towards women. Unmarried couples often openly share hotel rooms, and visitors to the UAE say they are rarely, if ever, troubled by the authorities over either issue. But recent events in Dubai suggest that this meeting place may not be quite as comfortable or cozy as one may think. On New Year's Eve, a young British woman of Pakistani descent was allegedly raped by a hotel worker at an upmarket hotel in Dubai Marina. She had been celebrating her engagement with her 44-year-old British boyfriend during a 3-day romantic getaway to the city. But based on news reports, their pleasant weekend apparently turned into a nightmare. She reported to the police that a hotel employee followed her into a restroom and raped her. A woman should be able to report a rape to the police anywhere in the world and to expect them to investigate the charge. In some parts of the world, that will actually happen, even though police officials are not always as sensitive or responsive as they should be. But for those of us who live in the Middle East, those of us, so this is the person there, it is not really clear what we should do if we're sexually assaulted, abused, or raped. That is because in so many instances, officials either don't take us seriously or, as this case frighteningly illustrates, we may even be charged with a crime ourselves. It became clear in this case that the Dubai authorities were not really interested in whether the young woman had been harmed. The authorities at the Jebel Ali police station in Dubai seemed to be much more intrigued about this young woman's alcohol consumption and her sex life, news reports indicate. Instead of seriously investigating the rape, which carries a harsh sentence under local law, the police charged the woman and her fiancé with drinking alcohol and having illegal sex. They spent a night in jail and were then released on bail. Their passports have been confiscated as they await trial, and if convicted, they may face up to 6 years in prison. Police officials contend that the woman fabricated her story, though they have provided no information to back up their conclusion, and despite the fact that the criminal investigation is apparently not yet complete. The hotel employee, who admitted he had sex with the woman but denies it was rape, has been charged with illegal sex rather than rape. So he admitted that. And if he hadn't admitted that, then they would have nothing on him. This woman's experience is unfortunately not limited to tourists in Dubai. It is an example of how authorities, especially in this region, ignore violence against women every day and turn investigations of crimes against women into moral judgment calls. The real problem is the much broader and more basic one of how societies in the Middle East view women and attempt to control them, placing restrictions on how they should dress, speak, and act in public. Women are seen as custodians of family honor and are coerced into marriage. Even the most open societies in the region continue to fail women by not fully respecting their human rights. Women in the Middle East face discriminatory legal provisions in personal status laws which govern almost every aspect of their lives, including marriage, divorce, custody, and guardianship, and inheritance. Discriminatory provisions in penal codes either exempt or hand down mitigated sentences to male family members who murder their female relatives. Women are also reluctant to report domestic abuse, rape, or other forms of gender-based violence to authorities because of the difficulties they face in seeking redress. A few weeks ago, a young woman was allegedly raped in a restroom. The fact that she was treated like a criminal when she went to police and that women in the Middle East are scared to report such crimes is the real moral outrage. And guys, this happens over and over and over again, especially with domestic workers and so on. They hire women as maids and so on and then do whatever they want to them. The women, if the woman goes and reports, hey, this guy hired me as a maid and then raped me, nothing police can do because it's your word against his word. He says it didn't happen. And your testimony isn't as reliable as his, as Tucker Carlson knows, which means he knows why rapes are underreported. And what's he say? Rape rate of 0 in these places. That's already a lie because they do still have statistics and so on. But even the ones that are reported are a fraction. People know you're not getting justice. If you go to police to report this, you're admitting that you had sex and you're going to prison. And the guy's not. So you don't report it. Tucker thinks that's a great system, vastly superior to ours, and should be praised and honored.
Wow, so based.
Very, 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 very based. We have one more clip to check out. Take these couple super chats and we'll check out the last clip. I don't have an evangelist temperament. What's this responding to?
Good.
I read that the Baha'i religion began after the Baha'u'llah was disillusioned with the Islamic leaders having sex with young boys. I didn't know that, but wouldn't surprise me one bit. Scariest film of 2025. Tucker and Nunn, Possessed. Hopefully Tucker Carlson will lose popularity among the younger generations because what the heck is this? The problem is, guys, you got all sorts of weirdos and people who would love to hear this kind of idiotic nonsense. And he's going to have tons of Muslim fans after this. And maybe that's the point. Maybe that's the point. Another thing I learned in Afghanistan, they had no issue working in the drug trade as long as it goes to the unbelievers. Now, this is interesting. They got a problem with the drug trade if it's going to believers, not if it's going to unbelievers. Interesting. They made lots of money, and the Western countries had a terrible time convincing them to leave the drug trade. This sells to young people reacting to secularism. Yeah. Correction by JT's YouTube. Tucker Swanson McNear Carlson's from Swanson Foods. So it's not Sara Lee, it's Swanson Foods. That's interesting. Got some money, eh? You should bring on Gadfly to talk about the Sharia classes he took in law school. There we go. Yeah. Since all lawyers are experts in Sharia, we'll just get Christian Gadfly on to talk about the amazing knowledge of Sharia that he was taught in law school. And we have the Sharia punishment for leaving Islam is death. Tucker, is that really so bad? Why should we care? This AP doesn't want Islam to spread because it would kill him. One last video clip. This is from his discussion with Glenn Greenwald. And Tucker was fascinated by this idea of submission. We already saw a little clip of this in the Milk Bar compilation. Just wanted to check it out in context, make sure we're getting this correctly.
You describe it much better than I do. I'm still trying to sort it out in my head. It was less than a year ago I saw this. I was like, I've not stopped thinking about it.
Glenn Greenwald's also talking about dealing with drug problems and so on, and how you deal with drug problems.
Yeah, we talked about it last night, and so then I thought about it last night, this morning, so it's fresh in my mind as well, like in terms of what it means and how to think about it. But yeah, it's something that is, I think, it's kind of like sitting there right in plain sight. It's a solution to a lot of things. But for a lot of reasons, you need a lot of vulnerability and humility to strip yourself down that way, to admit your powerlessness. We're constantly taught to affirm our invulnerability, like I'm strong, I'm powerful.
Talking about like entering into a drug rehabilitation program, going to a group like Narcotics Anonymous and so on. And, you know, that's hard. That's hard for people because you're kind of like exposing yourself, not the way Muhammad exposed himself to the men of Al-Zut, but in a different way.
I can deal with anything, but human beings are by themselves not all that powerful. But there's a lot of things we can do. There's a lot
unless you get the strength of 30 men injected into you, and then you're super powerful.
Things we can't. And the whole point of these kind of addiction groups or whatever, there's a lot of these different kind of groups. I think all communities are like them, is like together, like human beings connecting to each other creates a much bigger power than
not connecting to each other in the way the Al-Zut connected with Muhammad. More like a relation, well, not like a relationship like that either. Anyway, you guys get the point.
Every human being.
Not the way Muhammad got the point of 30 different men, but you know, what is wrong with this, man? Oh, boy.
Sitting kind of isolated and alone.
Yes. I mean, I believe in a religion that extols humility, that in which humility is like the cover charge. Like you don't get anywhere without humility. That teaches that God like submitted to being tortured to death. So like,
and you get on your knees in a church. You
100%,
like in Islam, you like bow on the ground. Like
that's exactly right.
All an expression of that same.
I remember after 9/11 when I was like, you know, all about attacking Islam. I knew nothing about Islam. I'm not Muslim, by the way. I don't work for Qatar.
Contrary to what a lot of people think, despite the paychecks from Qatar.
I'm not a secret shit. Right. But I remember hearing someone I worked at CNN at the time, and like we had all these endless experts, most of whom kind of worked for the CIA, but whatever.
It was amazing. He's talking about like back in the day, it was CNN, and then he's with Fox and everything, and all these experts would be on there, and he seemed to think there was a problem with Islam back then, but now we're going to find out it's no problem at all. Here we go.
I realized that later, but I remember who it was come on and be like, Islam is bad, and I was like, sounds bad, whatever. I don't know if I ever met a Muslim, but he's like,
Did you hear that? I don't even know if I ever met a Muslim. What was he saying? Oh, I know all kinds of Muslims who are.
I know lots of Muslims. Yeah.
Islam means submission. And like, let it hang in the air. Like that was self-evidently disgusting. And I was like, I kind of think submission to God is like the whole point of life, but I didn't say anything. I was like, I don't think I'm against that, actually.
See, even back then, he really wasn't against it. He thought it was a great idea. So that's weird. So he was, I guess for all these years, he was saying something that he really disagreed with when he thought Islam was a problem, because he knew even back then that Islam just means submission, and he thinks submission to Allah is a good idea.
Anyone who's
this guy's such a fraud, man.
Totally fake. So I'm starting to think he's totally fake, like Candace.
Submits to God, like. I'm just for that.
Well, and the
I mean,
Islam. I think a lot of religions seek the same things, just find different ways to think about how to find them. But the whole point of AA and NA, like the foundation of it, is that you submit to a higher power.
Yes.
It can be,
like Islam.
Understanding that there's a lot of people who are now atheists or secular. It doesn't necessarily have to be some like religious conception of a God.
Yeah, it's just, it's just all kinds of things you can submit to. No problem with Islam here.
And so many people go into these groups and they're adamantly contemptuous of this idea. Like, this is so irrational. I'm not going to pretend that there's some magic thing. And, I used to think that way too. And then I got to the point where I was like, no, you know what actually is irrational? Thinking that there's no higher power than you. Like, I am the highest power. Like that.
The heck is this guy? It's not that funny. Anyway.
It's not funny at all.
Look at that face.
It's the absurd thing. But it's all about, losing that sense that you're invulnerable and understanding that, you can find something higher than yourself. And it could just be the connection of the human group, whatever you want it to be, like whatever you recognize as being able to do things that you can't do is already an acknowledgement that there's a higher power than you.
All right, so we had it there.
There were times in the past where I thought that I was totally right about everything. And then it just turned out I wasn't right,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, weird stuff. So there you had it, guys. Tucker, after all the stuff he said after all these years, turns out way back in the day, someone told him Islam was just about submission. And he thought, that's actually a really good idea, just submitting to God. If you were absent earlier in the show, ladies and gentlemen, we actually went to the Quran, Surah 4, verse 65, which tells you what submission means. It's not just, hey, you have to submit to God. It's not what Islam says. It says, here is how you submit to God. You submit to God by mindlessly agreeing with everything Muhammad says, no matter how insane it sounds to you. That's what Surah 4 verse 65 says. You can have no real faith until you have no resistance at all against anything Muhammad has decided, and you accept all of Muhammad's decisions about jihad, about child marriage, about everything. You accept all of Muhammad's decisions with full submission. You submit to Allah by submitting to Muhammad. That's kind of a problem, Tucker, and your fans will know absolutely nothing about it because you completely misled them and deceived them with that idiotic nonsense you keep spouting. And you know better, and you're doing it anyway, which means you're evil. You're either completely evil, or that demon did something to you, or you're just for sale to the highest bidder, in which case you're still evil.
Zut got him.
Yeah, Zut got him.
Zut's gonna give it to you.
Oh, boy. Zut's gonna give it to you. Gonna give it to you. All right, take these last two super chats and we'll be out, ladies and gentlemen. Chances that Tucker, it's Alan Zutman. Chances that Tucker takes the Shahada depends on how much the check's for. But keep in mind, you don't really need him to convert. You don't really need these guys to convert to Islam if they're doing what you want and helping pave the way for Islam, right? You don't need to pay this guy to convert to Islam. He may have a bigger impact if he just keeps promoting Sharia and Islam for you.
That's true.
This makes me wonder who paid Jade Fonda, and why didn't Tucker just go ahead and mount an anti-aircraft gun like she did? Not sure. Maybe they had different plans for him. Watch Amy Kozak parody of Tucker prepping for the interview with the nun. It's hilarious. Did you see that?
No, I haven't. Gotta check it out.
I will check that out.
Gotta check out.
And, oh, it's Tucker's wife. Tucker's wife is Swanson Food heiress. Oh, so he married into some serious cash, man. Serious cash. Yeah, why are you doing this, Tucker? You got all the money in the world waiting for you. What the heck is wrong with you, man? Didn't have to sell out. Didn't even have to sell out.
Wait, Ami Kozak follows me now? That's funny. I didn't know.
Huh, that's cool. All right, anyway, everyone, we're going to be live on your channel tomorrow, AP?
Yes, indeed.
Any idea what we're covering?
Probably something about Christians or Muslims. Probably something about junk yogurt.
Oh, yeah. That stuff. Yeah, Chunk Yogurt. He said a bunch of crazy, stupid stuff, and then his little sidekick. She's been going off the deep end too.
Oh yeah. So they have both been kind of insane. So I want to address that. I think they need to be tackled, and I also want to challenge him to a debate once again, which I also did there. I ratioed him in his comments by challenging him to a debate and calling him a liar and all that, because he said something like how everything was completely fine until Israel decided to attack their neighbors or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Good point. Powerful point.
Islam was just coexisting with everybody, you know. So, yeah, I think I want to go through that.
All right, everyone. That seems like what we'll be going through tomorrow. I might make a short regular video about the whole Tucker thing, because it's easy just to play a couple of clips and then play the clips of him going off the deep end and then pointing out a couple other things. I might want a regular, just 12-minute video about this, because people need to pay attention. Creepy stuff going on with some of these popular influencers, but something we're going to be seeing more and more of. All right, guys. We'll catch y'all next time. That's actually pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Try it on the shofar, and we'll see what. Ned, you want to impress us? Do it on the shofar. All right. Catch y'all next time.